pressing go live in YouTube. So I should be live in YouTube. And completely turn that off. Can I don't show non-video participants. Perfect. Now, all right. So Discord is all set up and ready to go for this stream. So we should be live and everything. Sorry for that 30-second odd intro with me just screwing around with Discord. Hi, welcome to the live stream. We're gonna, you can read the title. You can see that funny thumbnail. Okay, so you know what we're gonna be talking about. But let me go ahead and get my buddies in here to talk with us. We've got Dylan and Scott. And if we can get a yay or nay on the audio, that would be fantastic. Jeff, hold off on the Null 2 stream, brother. How about you come in and discuss LTT with us, opinions, thoughts, Linus, talk with us. You can, or just stay in chat with us and discuss back and forth, and then throw up your Null 2 stream, because then I want to watch it, because then you'll have extra people. We'll pimp out your live stream here before it starts. I mean, that sounds like a game plan to me. All right, let's get Scott and Dylan in here.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hey. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing perfectly fine. I'm doing pretty damn good.
That is good to hear.
Now, Dylan, I did say that cameras were a requirement for this call. It is a hard requirement.
Yours is on though.
Yes, it's because I don't want to show my shitty webcam and the good webcam at the same time on the stream. No reason for that.
It's like an excuse to me.
It is an excuse, but it's a good one. It's a valid one.
I will turn my camera on just for you.
Thanks, hon.
It's not even worth
it really does mean a lot.
Deactivating OBS. There we go.
I think the stream cares a lot too. Actually, you know what? That screws with my border. What I will do is just screw with all these floating windows. So, I think we should talk about LTT. We can just go ahead and load up Linus Tech tips. That's what we'll do.
Anything is easy.
Oh, you can't even see my face anyway. So what are you talking about? Your face can't score in my face.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Oh, see how it is.
Look, how about this?
Oh.
Just for you.
I feel special.
You should.
Yay.
Okay, I care. Okay, I can't be misrepresenting my bros. Okay, I can't be going on. All right. So, when it comes to LTT, I feel like we have a lot of people that are very, very upsetty skinny about somebody is low. Who would that be? Is that Dylan or?
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
All right.
Hey.
Now, Dylan, go.
Hello.
Say more. Dylan.
What?
Say more.
What am I saying? What?
Yeah. I'm just trying to check audio. I think you're a little low, so I could boost you up.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a little bump. Yeah, because Scott is a little bit louder, so. All right. I've given you like a 20% boost, so should be more than fine. So, I don't know. Would you guys agree with a statement? Everyone's real upsetty spaghetti about Linus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
right
being
now.
super fierce.
Mm-hmm. And see, here's the thing. I don't know that all of it is completely unfounded, but I think for us to have an honest conversation like about it, what we need to do is actually go back and go in here because there's is it not its own dedicated playlist? It's not. Okay. Oh wait, yes it is. Right there. Switching to Linux.
To
challenge.
celebrate the
Okay. So, let's go through the actual challenge. Let's watch the full series right now, and we'll talk about it as we watch it and give our honest opinions as we go through and talk about why people are so upset. We're not going to watch the entire thing, but
Do you do a watch together? Oh, and can you shit?
I'm just watching on the stream.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Wait,
I mean because that sucks because y'all are gonna have to hear. Yeah, let me get a watch together link. Give me 1 second.
Awesome.
Go here, watch together. Doop. Create your room. Pick a username, Zany. Oh no. Hello. Oh, there we go. Paste this link.
to ce-
Okay. So now copy this link and Discord's up here. And I'll post it in.
Jeff says, "How do I get in?"
I just drag you on in. Give me 1 second. I was not paying attention. All right, so inside of off topic, the link, the wash together link, has not been posted because Discord is frozen.
Wait, I just realized. Can you even show the off-topic tab on your stream?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah, because it's that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that questionable.
There's so much. There's so much white coming from your screen. So much white.
Who, me?
What's up, Jeff?
No, I think he's
Not a
talking
whole
to me.
lot. I was like, I forgot to plug the mic in before I ran Discord. Is like, oh, is it going to pick it up? OBS don't.
I'm in the midst of trying to figure this out.
So this pop-up window, there's no way for me to get. Here we go. Perfect. Yes. Okay. Now Discord. I try to paste in here and literally the entire program crashes. Like it just completely freezes.
What the
fuck is going on?
celebrate the exciting launch of
All right, so you got that going. Oof.
It literally. Fuck this. I'm putting it in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
I literally can't deal with Discord shit tonight. I'm not doing it. Fuck Discord. I think anybody and everybody can agree with that statement. Oh wow, look at that. It just pasted right on in there. Fuck you,
Dang.
Discord. I hate you.
Willy-nilly. There it is. Man, my shoulders zonkering me, man.
Well, I mean, your shoulders are like this. Your posture's like this. Yeah, you need to sit straight up and drop them shoulders down.
Oh, my desk is nah. I gotta.
Yeah, that's the main dude. All right, so I was talking with my mom about this. I'm like, Mom, I was like, search office pictures, like or people in offices. And she's like, okay. people in offices, and like I'm showing her pictures. I'm like, do you see one person in here sitting straight with their shoulders like back and down? And she's like, no. I'm like, hey, do you see my point? Like everybody wonders why their shoulder and back hurts and everything when they sit down on the computer all the time. Like, it's not like because you're sitting at the computer all the time.
Celebrate the exciting launch of
Your actual like posture is terrible.
It's a good chair too. If I could just scoot all the way into my desk, my knees hit the desk. But
you should get a standing desk if you can.
Mhm.
It's worth it. It's worth it, in my opinion.
It really is. I mean, like, it is expensive. Like, literally, this desk costs as much as a Quest 2 VR headset. But that being said, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the manual stand-up desk as well. If you can get a cheaper one, there's always one you can do yourself.
No.
You can move up.
But those are like the problem with those is you will convince yourself to just end up not using it because it's more of a hassle. You'll just be like, well, I'll just stand up for a few minutes and stretch. And like the advantage to a standing desk is you push a button and then you stand up for like 15 minutes, and when your legs can't take it anymore, then you sit down. Like, it's much better.
I actually enjoyed watching them fiddle around with Linux.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thing is like a lot of people are taking this very personally. Like,
They were, for the most part, I would call fair.
yeah. Oh, bye, Dylan.
No, I'll be back in a second.
Oh.
Elon
Shit, I
Musk is
forgot to
spending
grab my
the
coffee.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Got to order
Dude,
coffee.
Dylan, you invited Elon Musk over?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, okay, word. Is he gonna do that shit where he installs the stuff to make him sound like you?
Yeah.
It's always so good, man. The audio's so good, but like Elon always looks a little off. I don't understand it.
Nah, bro.
Like, I think he has a drinking habit he's not telling anyone about. You know?
Yeah.
So Jeff, how cold is it where you are?
Let's see.
So Jeff, how cold is it?
Oops.
It's 44 right now.
What's that into like normal people?
It's gonna go down to 15 tonight.
What is that to normal people?
We don't use Celsius. Celsius is
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
You only use Celsius for your
Fahrenheit.
CPU.
44's
Fahrenheit.
44's not that bad actually.
No,
In Fahrenheit, what was it for me? It's currently 28
15's
for me.
pretty cold.
Yeah, it's currently 28 for me.
Yeah, that's really cold.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead. We'll hop in here. We'll watch this. And then we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as it goes on.
Windows 11, Luke and I are challenging each other to ditch Windows altogether.
It's coming through your mic, Scott.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
It's always coming through this mic. Give me 1 sec. Let me switch it to...
Poor Scott. Like, I don't know why, but like audio issues are the thing that always plague him, and it's the funniest thing too, because like he has like it's weird because like I understand like gaming issues plaguing him, but like audio issue, like he's using a business class computer. Like you would think that that's the stuff that like, and it's an old business class, so like it's definitely like, it should have like kernel support and everything. Like it should be like what the Linux kernel like excels on, and it's just constant audio issues and shit.
And it's only coming through here too, so it's like...
Yeah, I know. That's why it's so confusing.
I think I fixed it though. Let's see if it fixed it.
All right, we'll see.
Together and replace our Windows PCs with Linux
perfect.
for a month. And if either of us caves, they have to
No, I
dye
can't
their
hear it.
hair in red, green, blue, and yellow quadrants permanently. Easy, you might say. But I'm not talking about our work machines that are basically just used for word processing and web browsing. I'm talking about our personal rigs, the ones we both use on a daily basis, primarily for gaming. Has Linux gotten to the point where it's user-friendly enough that any tech nerd can pick it up and run? Is game compatibility going to be an instant deal breaker? Will any of my other applications even run? Who would sponsor this madness? Instantly see your current and past network activity, detect malware, and block badly behaving apps on your PC or Android device with Glass Linux. And one of the reasons for that is the utterly paralyzing number of choices you have to make before you even get started. Now, I could just call on...
Okay. First things first, Elon, welcome to the stream.
Hello.
How are you doing, good sir?
Pretty good, bro. Yeah.
Awesome. I do have to say it's an absolute honor to have all of these legends on my channel. You know, it's an absolute honor to have my channel get to the point now where I've been graced and been able to talk to not just DT, but I've been able to reach out to other creators like Hex, Gardner Bryant, and now I'm having the owner and head of Tesla and SpaceX here. So I do have to ask one single question. I asked you earlier, you dodged the question like a pro, of course. The fuck is happening with my Tesla stock, man? Why isn't it like tripled yet?
Going downhill, bro. Oh no. It's going downhill, boys.
I know. Can you explain?
Buy more Dogecoin. It'll go
Oh,
up.
okay. Okay. Got you. Wait, what make this piece of crap Linus comes to a Linux channel?
What?
What?
Huh?
Where'd you see this?
What?
What you want about?
What do you mean?
Oh,
But anyway, so
man, you saw that fast. I
yes.
just popped up.
Well, it's because I had to unhide it. When anyone says like anything half questionable, I have to like unhide it because
It was probably crap.
yeah, it probably was. Like YouTube assumes the worst from my comments, and I can't change it. Like
YouTube does censor you.
well, yes. Like I have to like if you say shit, I have to show that comment like manually. It's retarded, but it is just the way that YouTube does things. Okay, it's just the way it works, the way the world turns. All right, but a lot of people are saying that this is unfair, like what Linus is saying here about the paralyzing amount of choices in Linux. Like, no, that's a fair point. I think we all know that. Like, yeah, there's a shitload of fucking choice, and it is a little, you know, like for someone who wants to get into it for the first time. I mean, we all remember getting into it for the first time ourselves. Oh, TFL has messaged me. Let me just shoot him back a quick message because I can't just ignore TFL. We all know TFL is a big
I think they did.
excellent person. Sorry, but don't hide it. Oh no. Again, I'm not gonna hide it. Like I'll always show messages. I don't care. It's just what YouTube does. They just like they put it in like essentially a
No, I think he means what. Don't hide that this is a piece of crap. Is that what you mean? I don't know. I took it as something else.
I mean,
I don't know, man. Linus drops everything, so why would you expect him to not drop the ball on Linux?
Well, I don't think he's dropping the ball. See, here's the thing. Everyone assumes that Linus should be a pro and get everything right. Here's the thing. Linus, it has always, look, he can definitely give you really good hardware advice. And he's definitely extremely knowledgeable about enterprise hardware, commercial hardware. However, he's a klutz with the hardware, and he's also a klutz when using software. I mean, we've all seen his channel. He klutzes his way through using software all the time. He's one of those people who definitely relies on customer support for different stuff. Like, support for software is something that he raves about all the time. Why? Because, well, he can use it, you know? So the idea that he goes into Linux and he messes up stuff and that's a bad thing, no. Like, you have someone who stumbles and screws up a lot, but who's very knowledgeable. He's the perfect person to go into Linux and highlight the stuff that needs to be fixed, because he's not just...
True.
He's not just somebody who has no knowledge. He's just a computer klutz. Like,
I'm a computer klutz.
well, and that's the thing. There's a ton of fucking people out there who are. And like, like there's a reason why Pop OS made a change to their distro because of this series. Like, it's actually a good change. Like, you shouldn't be able to just brick the entire system because you ignored something. Like, that's a good improvement. So yeah.
And he has good tech review videos.
Yes, he does. I mean, also he's not being cruel to Linux.
On industry contacts, or even use internal resources to make these decisions for me. But the point of this challenge is that Luke and I should be using the exact same resources that anyone else would have. And with that in mind, right out of the gate, I would forgive the average gamer for making it as far as Google hit #1 for best Linux distro for gaming and bailing on the entire deal.
I was about to message TFL. I could just tell him.
I
You're
did
good,
pick up some
man.
really useful information.
You ain't gonna ask if I'm
is
free before
full
calling.
of jargon that a non-Linux enthusiast couldn't possibly be expected to know, not to mention seemingly conflicting information. How is it that Ubuntu can be simultaneously
He's using this on a
easy
huge
to use,
screen, too.
beginner-friendly, and a hassle to set up?
And see, this is another thing that people pointed out as something that like was a big problem with freaking Linux. And got all pissed off at them for like, you know, either highlighting this or not getting it right. Like, this isn't a Linux problem. Like, yeah, it's not a Linux problem, but it is a problem that needs to be addressed. Like the amount
It's real.
Yeah, like when you want, like, it's a real problem. Like when you want to get into Linux, going and searching and finding all of these SEO articles that are just filled with shit to get to the top of Google and don't teach you or like actually convey anything. Like, it just literally, most of these articles leave you more confused. Like that's what most of them do.
If you just skip back like for a few seconds, you'll see some random just keywords I don't know what the fucking mean. Like this, like BFQI schedule. What the fuck's that mean? Like, you know, like gaming kernel. Like, what the fuck's it even mean? No, it doesn't say anything.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not gonna watch the entire video series, but we're gonna skim through them all, all the videos, and see just different parts of them, and talk about, you know, what's going on. And really, in all honesty, the only reason that we're actually watching them is just so that we can have, you know, different aspects and different things that they cover that people are arguing about to sort of talk about. And, you know, because I mean, a lot of the stuff that people are arguing about right now are not even real. Like, it's not even real arguments. Like, the only people who are arguing are us in the Linux community. Everyone outside of it is like, oh, like, this is cool. At least it's getting talked about. Like, this is interesting. Like, I mean, if you can make Linux look cool and neat, like,
And you know, some of the bigger Linux YouTubers have said that there's people in their chat on their channel now that tried Linux because of this challenge, in spite of how horrible Linus made it look. But you had Luke on the other side too, though.
well, and see, that's the whole point.
True.
I think it's funny too, because a lot of people are so upset at this, and I'm like, look, like, Luke is doing amazingly well, and to me, the absolutely ironic part that, like, I mean, if you know about Linux, you should at least be having fun with this video series, because look, Luke, who typically doesn't, like, who is more capable of, like, dealing with problems when he's faced with them, which we'll get to that in the episode 3. It's very clear that Luke is much more capable of dealing with problems when he encounters them and, like, finding methods and solutions compared to Linus. However, Luke chose Linux Mint, where it's like Linux Mint, even though I'm not a huge fan of Linux Mint, like, Linux Mint is a solid distro where it's got really solid hardware support. And I mean, genuinely, the user experience is what's gotten focused on the most, not, you know, support for games or this or that. Like, it's literally just the user experience, making sure that everything works like someone from Windows would expect. And so Luke doesn't have any of these problems. If Linus had chosen Linux Mint and Luke had chosen, like, Pop OS, this entire challenge would be different. Like, none of the things that people bitch and complain about would be the same, because they just wouldn't have, because I mean, like if you think about it for a second, Luke wouldn't have done what Linus did. Luke wouldn't have just read that that warning, and then just be like, nah, like let's keep going. Like, that's something only Linus does. Like Linus is the guy who like sets something on the edge of a counter, and he's like, it'll be fine, and then walks away, and then it falls. Well, see, here's the thing. Everyone says that Linus bugs them. Like to me, you can't really let him bug you, because like he's that guy that you know who's like he's got the best of intentions, but he's just a klutz, and like he's very intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. He means the best, but he is just a massive klutz.
Haven't you watched him drop rare CPUs that just came out that you can't even really get in the wild yet? It's part of his shtick, or whatever you want to call it.
Like, let's be honest. Like there are individuals out there who have made money making compilation videos of him dropping more hardware worth more money than probably like an apartment in Manhattan. Like this man drops.
Well, most people make it a year.
Yeah, like he drops an insane amount of shit. So I mean, you can get upset at him, but like I don't know. To me, it's like to me, what they're doing is like Luke is actually like showing off Linux, and then Linus is the funny part. Like he's the part that keep like
he's
12-year-old
relief.
Yeah, like he's what keeps the 12-year-olds watching the video and like interested in Linux. Like when you're 12 years old, like you need that laugh factor to be able to watch Luke like explain Linux Mint and be like, oh yeah, so this is how it works. That's pretty simple. Like you need that to be able to keep watching a 20-minute video. And I think it's great. Like laugh at him. Like, dude, there's a ton of stuff that Linus has done that's just, it's funny. Like, I mean, come on. Like,
I mean, look at his face right now. It's funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, removing your entire, like, come on, removing pretty much your entire OS, just trying to install Steam, that's kind of incredible. Like, that's so funny. Come on.
And it would have probably
Ethan,
been
how's it
okay if he
going?
would have updated first, but there is a possibility he would have still been in that window where everything would have been nuked.
And Nosy, hey, I don't think I said hi. Also, Scott, I almost forgot. I need to make you a moderator. I said I would do that. Add moderator.
All right.
Boop. There you are.
Something else the people getting upset maybe need to remember is like,
Yes.
if you go from Windows to Mac or Mac to Windows, you're gonna run into some. That's not going to be smooth either at first.
Yep.
And so I wouldn't look at these videos expecting a smooth experience from either one of them, really.
Yeah, well, and also too, like, I don't know any, like, let's be completely boldly real talk here. I don't know fucking anyone that can actually look back, genuinely, honestly look back at their first introduction and their actual first journey into Linux and say it was a perfectly smooth experience. That's a bold-faced lie. You encountered issues. You worked out how to solve them. Like, you encountered things that definitely somebody, maybe with a different mindset than you, but definitely somebody could go, oh, well, I'll just go back to the thing that works. Like, that's always a valid argument. Like,
right.
Any changeover is going to take.
There in the chat.
TFL, he's not always one at fault, though. Like, he's not. Like, there is issues where it just doesn't work on his hardware, it just doesn't work, and that happens. I mean, not always.
Actually, let's keep watching this a little bit. Warning. Hey, how's it going? Now, let's keep watching this a little bit, because I think actually he'll say something that I can
it's funny.
address with that.
Another big one is that customization gets billed as this major selling point for Linux. And fair enough if that's your thing, but speaking on behalf of normies, I don't want a dozen novel ways to do the same thing. I want one fast, easy one. I mean, it's horrible when Microsoft scatters system settings all over the place.
Well, fine. Use that one fast, easy one out of the dozen
so
that
we
you
should
like.
all agree that it's horrible when anybody else does it. I mean, I'm the kind of person who doesn't even...
can we all just take a second to realize the irony of him talking about and criticizing the fact that Microsoft splits up a whole bunch of options?
Scatters. For
Yeah,
real,
like
I just thought that.
Scatters options, and then he installed KDE, which is the one desktop environment that scatters options around. Like, there's quite a bit of irony in it. But yeah,
rename my video game characters because it makes it a nightmare to look anything up if I get stuck. And there are a ton of other red flags. Let's move on to hit number 2 here, this time from Tech Radar. Supports several controllers should not be a selling point for a gaming-focused product. It seems to imply that most of my stuff won't work. And included games are not the reason that anyone chooses an operating system. How are these articles so out of touch? Furthermore, the messaging around what makes an individual distro stand out compared to the other ones gets really muddy in some places. Like the way that these articles are often laid out, it sounds like if I choose the one with support for hybrid graphics, I'm going to be giving up kernel-level gaming optimizations. Or that if I want broad hardware support, that could cost me the customization that I crave. But the truth is that that's not the case. With a bit of elbow grease, the gaming-centric features and tweaks of one distro could be applied to another, but with some exceptions.
Wait, pause. I'm sure Microsoft will help you support all those too, right? I mean, or wait, Microsoft will just take it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Like, there's so many options there. There's so many options for support, or what would you like? Would you like this, or would you like that?
Well, everything works on Windows.
Yeah, well, they don't give you the option though. They're just like, here's Candy Crush.
No, they do give you the options. Like if you want stable, there's LTSC. For Enterprise, there's if you want rolling release, there's Windows.
Oh, people only know of like Home though, like Home Pro,
No,
Education.
not really. I mean, that's like, well, see, I mean, you just listed off more there that you know, and like that's the thing. Like most people, you think most people know just Windows 10 Home, but most people do know that there's more versions of Windows. They're just not familiar with any of them. Like,
I know, but they don't get the choice to choose
yes,
so heavily.
Yes, they do. When you download the Windows 10 ISO, like or Windows 11 or whatever, like it's Windows 10 and Windows 11. When you download the ISO, it comes with Home. Like you actually get to choose Home, Pro, like whatever. I don't think it comes with any of the server editions of Windows though. I don't
think you choose there.
No, Windows 7 is a completely different thing.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that's the way it worked. But yeah, I mean, you get the option to install the different versions, but again, most people are not familiar with them nor care for them. Like they don't really have a reason. But I mean, he's kind of got a valid point when it comes to like the way these articles are written. Like, or not kind of, he does have a good point. Like, yes, these articles are written in a way that very much mislead people and make them think that like, oh, well, okay, so if this one has more controller support, like what does that even, more controller support? That probably means they have a couple like, like driver packages installed for them. Like
that's for all my retro controllers, so I could play art, retro art and all my stuff, man. And, like people care about that stuff.
Well, exactly. But the thing is like for most people, like what they think is like, oh, so does that mean like the PS4 or like Xbox controller, like one of them doesn't work unless you install, like use this one distro? Like what is, because like most people don't understand, like, look, your regular controllers that you're used to using, like, these ones, like the Xbox controller, like it's just gonna work. Like you just plug it up. Like, so for a newbie who doesn't know this type of shit, they're like, huh, that's a little confusing. Like, does that mean if I choose Pop OS, like I'll have controller support, but then if I choose like Linux Mint, I won't? Like, I understand his point, but let's keep watching because I think
I'll second that, because I'll tell you what, because I do remember this from starting, and I've looked at some of these articles since then, and most of these articles written for newbies are absolute shite.
Yes, I completely agree.
One user interface, for example, is specific to elementary OS, and for a more gaming-related example, Tech Radar mentions a feature of Gamer OS, now called Chimera OS, called the Chimera app that sounds super cool. It allows you to easily install and manage non-Steam games and even ROMs for a wide range of retro consoles. Except that if I wanted an OS that doesn't support multitasking, I would invent myself a time machine so that I could go back and use it. But wait, hold on. The Chimera app can be used outside of Chimera OS. There's even a guide. But unless I want to really get into the weeds, I better stick with something based on Arch, by the way, like Manjaro or Garuda. Not that that's going to be my final answer. In spite of its spectacularly stupid name, pop exclamation mark underscore OS pops just about every...
Can we just talk for... He's the first person I've ever met in my entire life who's referred to it as that. Everyone just says pop OS.
Exclamation point.
What did he refer to it as?
Pop exclamation mark underscore OS.
Oh gosh.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Look, he's 100% right.
Yeah.
But the first person I've ever met to actually call it that, and also make it's a valid complaint, but like it's the first time I've ever heard it, so you do have to laugh, like, because he's such a public figure, like I mean, if one person on Reddit had said this before now, like, you know, like I would at least be okay with it. But it's just like, I mean, this is like out of left. Like, no, I've never heard anyone be like, how am I supposed to say this? Or like, that's such a long name. Pop OS. Kind of simple, but whatever.
Realistical that I found, and legitimately has some compelling selling, like
System 7_6
difficult process of getting my NVIDIA GPU working properly, and making installing the apps and tools that I'm going to need to run my Windows games a one-click affair with the Pop Shop. If it was 10 years ago and I was looking for a challenge, Manjaro's bleeding edge approach option, but the challenge here is games, not get your PhD in Linux smartassery.
I, on the other hand, after a lot of deliberation, decided to go with the daring, the uncompromising Linux Mint with the Cinnamon desktop.
Good choice.
As for how I think that's gonna go, honestly, I'm pretty confident. I've used Mint before. I daily drove Ubuntu, the distro it's based on, for about 2 years back in school. So I'm not scared of figuring out how to install a GPU
get some
driver
experience.
or use a package manager. I'm comfortable getting my hands dirty with Grub,
The frick?
but that doesn't mean I'm not a little scared of you. I'm pretty technical and I work in development every day, but hardcore Linux chads are absolutely terrifying. You scare me, and I really want this to go well, because I still want you to like me when this is all over.
Got my drive ready, and Windows couldn't possibly have picked a more appropriate time to just bug the crap out. It's like it knows what's gonna happen.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second? Like, I can verify on Windows, like, this shit is definitely a thing. Like, Windows working perfectly, like, the thing about Windows that people talk about that, like, not everyone understands is, like, when people say, like, Windows just works, like, it does. It just works. Like, shit will work.
Until it bugs out.
Yeah.
Bugs out, or that doesn't mean that it ever works perfectly. Like, Windows, my microphone lost my, like, I mean, I think everyone can attest to this, especially Scott, because I know Scott, like, flipped his shit when he heard my microphone on Fedora for the first time. He's like, holy shit. Like, Windows removed my soul from my voice. Like, all of my, like, depth and, like, fullness was just gone from this microphone. And then, like, also just OBS making it to where a card that can easily play Rocket League maxed out at 144 frames per second, barely able to play it at like 15. Like, it's a weird OS. It's definitely the case.
It won't let me click
Thank
power.
you, TFL.
Obviously, I'm not 100% committed to this yet. So my plan is to remove my existing SSD from the system. It's not a
it's so
Gen 4
beautiful.
drive or anything.
Oh,
but
it hurts.
I'm not expecting that to
Oh, it
matter.
hurts.
I mean, what am I going to be doing? Running direct storage? Ha! Got him.
That hurt so much.
This is what happened last time.
He just was
desktop.
scraping the pins.
Kind of, you can see where it's
I
supposed
mean,
to
it don't
sort of
matter.
end,
Like,
but it keeps
it
going,
really
and mouse
don't.
can go over there.
I
So,
per-
now, if he was
right
being
below
hard with it, like
the mint
hitting
logo.
it and then like
Nothing
scraping
shows
it
up,
on it, like, yeah,
but
that's a problem. But like tapping it and trying to like get it into
there's the
place,
menu. If I try
That's
to
what he
move
was doing. He was
something,
looking through the
I can't
camera
select
and
them.
then trying to do it.
But if I
My
move
old
my
sensitive
mouse
computers would
back
have been
to
like, not touching the
below
pins.
this M, there it is.
It's just with CPU, so
Found
you don't
it.
want to be like
Okay,
wiggling
so my
them
mouse has to be
around.
right there.
No,
Let's
it used to
see
be
if I
like,
can
don't
do an
touch
easy
any of the
fix
cool
of
pins
just
underneath the
turning
RAM,
off my monitor
on the
here. To be
PCIs.
fair, it is
Oh,
not
no.
installed
CPU,
yet.
on everything,
This is
so
a
touch it.
live boot
It's worth
environment. See if it comes back when I turn that back on.
Hardware's tougher.
DisplayPort, no signal.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
I was worried that my Thunderbolt connection, I used Thunderbolt to connect to a dock for my main display, was going to cause problems with the installer because there's no drivers installed or anything. So I hooked up my monitor that's here in the server closet, but dun, 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 hey, there it is, just like that.
Looks pretty
My
nice.
mouse.
Looks like a nice computer.
No move. Oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, I thought. Oh wow. Oh, the sensitivity is just so high that I couldn't tell it was there. Okay then. Yep, that's the one. Here we go. Full name. Yes.
Just did a quick restart and turned the side monitor off. And it's fixed to the bounds of the screen and the mouse problem is solved. So just installing directly from the live environment. So I do want the multimedia codecs. It's nice that Mint comes with those. Not every distro does. I haven't decided which drive to actually put Mint
Alright, let's
on.
skip a few
So I'm
notes
not
here.
entirely sure where it's installing.
Substitute, but it's a lot better than nothing. Of course, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on any of this for now, because the goal today for part 1 is to pick a distro.
Please fucking remember the irony of that. I don't want to get too deep into this, so I'm just going to install Steam.
Get it installed, and run a game. I will definitely need Steam. Failed to install Steam. Warning, you were trying to remove the following essential packages.
What?
What are you talking about? I've done nothing with this other than install that hard info thing. You know what's hilarious? The last time I tried to do anything on Ubuntu, I ran into this exact same thing. I was told, it's super simple. You just install it. No, you do not. This is stupid. Apparently, this is the solution. And I have to type, yes, do as I say in order to install it.
Rip.
And maybe it will install and launch now. What is the point of having a...
Agenda to make people fight Linux as he fought it.
Hello? Did my computer just hard reset? What?
You guys did it. Just
I mean, to be
reset.
clear, I've seen some broken Windows behavior on first install, but this is...
And that's what happened, boys, when you are in your desktop environment and you fucking uninstall it. That's what happens. That's what happens. Like, see, so Pika, look, you're completely fine. You never have to apologize for not knowing a lot. And no one's going to take your opinion as less because you don't know a lot. But look, I don't think he is trying to, for one, these are not fake videos. I mean, you can pretty much tell these are very much real. He's actually installing it, and both of these guys are just video, like they're just recording themselves installing Linux on their machines. This is real video. I don't know the fake.
I don't know how you
aspect
can't
of-
get any more real than holding your phone in front of a
Yeah.
TV with a shadowed mirror of
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly. I mean, I don't know how this is fake, but I don't think he's trying to have anyone fight or appear Linux friendly. He's made it very clear this is not an advertisement for Linux. This is a challenge to see if Linux is truly up to snuff for just the average noob gamer or techie, like average tech, interested person to jump in and actually have a good, smooth experience. And
I mean,
this
I
is
think it's a good choice.
well, and see, here's the thing. This is a realistic representation of Linux. One person might have an incredibly easy time and face
Like
no
Luke.
problems, and someone else might have a fuckload of issues and really not like it. It's a very valid and true, like the dichotomy of what's going on right now is very much real. Like this is natural. This is actually what goes on in the real world. The thing is Linus is not a pro. You can't hate on him for not knowing this stuff. You can't hate on him for not like understanding, hey, like when your warning says you're gonna uninstall essential packages, it really does mean, brother, they're essential.
And he didn't even read, like, and that's the whole point too. Not dissing him or anything. He didn't even read what was put out in front of him.
You have to understand, Windows and Microsoft assumes that you don't read their messages either. So they keep you from breaking the system. Like, that's why people really don't like Windows, is because, well, hey, to protect someone who doesn't give a shit about what you say, you kind of have to like override some of their decisions or make it more difficult for them to do what they want to do. That way they really know what they're doing. Like, it's annoying as shit, but sometimes it's actually not a bad idea. Like, I don't know, in Pop OS's case, not having it even a possibility where someone can accidentally remove everything that is Pop OS just trying to install a normal package. Like, that is a good thing.
I didn't even know that was possible, to be honest with you.
Well, so what's going on is the system needs to do an update, and some of the shit that like Steam needs, like I guess what it's trying to do is like it needs to update all of the essential packages, and since they're out of date, when it's trying to pull in Steam, it's removing them so that the new ones can get installed, but it's not actually going to install them because it's, again, just installing Steam and its dependencies. So it creates this weird issue. To be honest, I have no idea. I haven't done any research into it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I can kind of see I could understand a few excuses of why it would happen.
From what I've seen on it, it was a bug that existed for like 48 hours in Pop OS.
Like it was his wrong time.
So there's a possibility that if he would have updated, depend upon, he might have been okay, or he might have still experienced that bug.
Damn.
It's wrong time, wrong place.
You just.
But even in that case, this is a good example of Linux, that stuff that could be improved. Like, the dichotomy here of someone who could be in the wrong spot at the wrong time and have a terrible experience, like that, this is real. Like, this is the ecosystem we live in. Like, you can have a bad experience in Linux. And I think trying to say that that's impossible, you're lying to yourself and others. Like, you can have a bad experience in Linux. You can have a bad experience in Windows too. Like, you can. I have. Like, you definitely can. Like,
I just updated. Well, right now. Just updated.
You want to make sure installing Steam doesn't break your system, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck.
That packet. Okay, that packet. Okay, so it had to downgrade that package to the Ubuntu version to resolve dependencies, which removed Pop OS packages. Gotcha. That is so crazy. It's so nuts.
Yeah, it's like I don't think anybody would expect installing Steam to remove their desktop, Linux user or not.
And again,
but
that is
a Linux user would like.
Yeah, I mean, a Linux
would read that and see what's going on, though.
Well, but see, here's the thing. By Linux user, what you're saying is someone who has used Linux for a long time. Like, and that's true. Like, someone who has used Linux for 5 years is pretty familiar with, error warnings. Like, you just pay attention to them more, because if on Linux, if you don't pay attention to them, there's a lot of things that, like, the error messages are how you fix a problem. Like, you've created a problem and now you need to fix it. The error message directly tells you what to do. So you sort of learn that, like, on Linux, you build this habit and you're taught that error messages are helpful. On Windows, you just ignore error messages left and right and it never fucking matters. So you build that habit of, like, just piss off. But I mean, this is a fair argument. This stuff shouldn't happen.
He's dead, Jim.
6%, but I'm afraid to turn the camera off now because this ride has been absolutely wild.
What did you do, Linus?
Oh, hey, there we go. Hello?
And now my man's gonna get a TTY.
What? Did I manage to completely nuke my desktop environment? Like my GUI? How? Just logged in and this is what I got. Unto comes with absolutely no warranty.
That's right, bitch.
This was a terrible experience. And I think that's where I'm going to have to leave it for tonight because I found this other post saying, hey, yeah, I had this problem. This was not easily solvable, so I had to fresh install.
TFL makes a really good point here. He said, I really think this is a good example of just how dumbed down Windows is and how much it encourages lack of thought. And that is so true. Like it.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's necessarily encouraging lack of thought, but they have to make it work for your grandma who like maybe doesn't have Alzheimer's, but she's definitely, you know, like her memory's going, she can't think up. Yeah. You know, she can't really keep up. It has to be able to work for her and for you. And I mean, to be able to do that, you essentially have to instill bad habits in the people who are knowledgeable, which really sucks. But look, just because Windows or Linux is rough around the edges doesn't mean that people won't keep using it or that this isn't a good thing for Linux. I think Linux benefits, like I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is like, look, we're not trying to sell fucking copies of Linux over here. That's not the thing. Like, that's never been the thing. That's never been the thing. The only thing is we want people to know about us. And guess what? This has put us on the map. And thank fuck it wasn't just Linus who did this. I think we can all agree on that, because then, yes, it would appear much more negative than it actually is. But then again, his experience with Manjaro is actually not that bad. Because, I mean, even a lot of the, like, negative points in the third video that he tries to bring up against it is, like, he even realizes later, oh, like, I'm just not even paying it. I'm not even seeing notifications on my monitor because it's massive. Like,
Blackworm, most people these days don't have apps, though. Who do you know who has a Netflix app? Everyone goes to Netflix.com. Everyone goes to Facebook.com. I don't think that's really a valid thing, you know? Like,
And I'm trying to look up. Let's see. I just went to my software center.
well, I don't understand why you would need an app for streaming services.
Yeah, I mean, the browser
Like,
exists.
yeah, that's like even on Windows. Like
I just got an app
I
for
would
YouTube. I just went to software store and
Well,
looked up streaming services.
I
Boom,
think
right there.
I think he's talking more about like Hulu, Netflix, Prime Video.
Oh yeah.
Disney
We don't-
Plus.
It's all proprietary stuff that takes your money. That's probably why. That's probably why your
Well,
phone
look,
bill.
taking
like,
your money is not the problem. It's the fact that they're proprietary
I agree with you.
and they have DRM.
You could just pay for one of those videos, or
But
pay.
the thing is those apps
Buy it.
still exist because like people there
I
are
don't know, this-
definitely there are definitely Electron apps for that. Like
The,
I mean,
the
they're-
services I use work for me. Like I can purchase a ticket on Zyko for a Japanese live stream concert, and it works just fine.
Yep. Right there.
Yeah, I don't think
There's
Netflix
some-
And
has
that's
an app,
that's probably some obscure shit most of y'all have never heard
Bingo.
of.
Bingo. And that's the thing, though, is that it's so people are so meant to be obscured, even in Microsoft. It's like, hey, we don't want you to know about these other things because we want you to know about the shit you're paying us for. Whether you're getting it for free or you think you're getting it for free, you're not getting it for free. They're taking a lot of your data, a lot of your information, and selling it. Or you could have gotten that money.
well, no, because you wouldn't have sold your data.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, so you're not getting any money. Like, here's the thing: you're really not getting screwed by Microsoft. It's just, do you honestly think that they're not a massive target that
but
eventually
I could
will
be a data
get
analyst for Microsoft. I could be with the college I went to with Python. They wanted me to be a scraper for Facebook for all these things, and I could have taken all the people's information and gone to the highest bidder for broker and been like, "How much want to pay for this data?" Even if it was like
No.
a penny on the dollar.
No,
Well-
you wouldn't have that information though, because it'd be all you wouldn't have it. You'd be working with it, but you wouldn't have it because that's definitely breaking some laws. Or you just getting those data.
I mean, you can't like there's HIPAA
You're
laws, so
allowed,
you
and
can't
not
do
here in U.S. It's all public.
No,
Here in
Well-
U.S., you're allowed to. If it's on Facebook or if it's on anything, and you're allowed to scrape that data. It's all public data. You're allowed to
Yes,
do
you are-
anything you want
are
with that
allowed
on the
to
public
scrape
domain.
Facebook. Well, see, here's the thing. Yes, it got released that like not a lot of people know this, but like a lot, like I mean a lot, like a lot, 10 plus million people have their phone number, address,
Yep.
birth date, name, and phone number all listed on.
And what's their
Facebook.
usual passcodes on their phones? Their birthday or their phone number or something closest to them that they keep to.
Oh,
you know,
and they
people are
also have
stupid.
where they work listed there. Now, Facebook
Exactly.
has changed it to where all that stuff is not just put on your Facebook page anymore, but it for like more than a decade, that's how it worked. So,
Microsoft needs online account. You need to have Pro. You need to have Pro to use an offline account.
you know,
Well,
But do they eventually force you into having something? They
no,
will.
no, they
no.
don't force you, no. But you, I mean, yes,
You
they do.
can't get a
They
service.
they
You
do
can't use our
force you to
service
pay
if you
more.
don't-
No,
Well,
they
hey.
force you to pay more so that you don't use it. I mean, it makes sense. Like, hey, you pay us more. All right, fine. We won't sell we won't harvest as much data and sell it.
Yeah,
Fine.
exactly.
Okay. I mean, we're
But
still we're still going to harvest a lot, but just not as much. Like, you know.
I mean, I don't really mind it, honestly. Like, I don't really mind the whole telemetry analysis of bullshit. I mean, Red Hat does the same for me. I pay them, they collect my telemetry as well. And,
As like it was for
like,
Well, I mean,
TFL.
that's the thing. Like everyone is collecting to like
yeah.
the whole idea is to just try and to
honestly
try
to
and
see
like
in Arch Linux, I've seen zero. Like for when I monitor my up and down, like there's times I just
no,
I
that's
feel
not what
happy.
that's not what we're talking about. We're not
Because things
talking
aren't
about
going
in
out.
Arch.
well,
We're
I
not-
know that, but in
we're not-
Microsoft when I paid attention, oh
Well,
my god, I couldn't even
yes,
pay
yeah,
attention.
that's what we're
right.
talking about. Microsoft, like RHEL and like and Red Hat, like they're enterprise. So you pay them they have telemetry built in because they monitor your system and everything, and like you pay for support. So when you're doing enterprise stuff or when you're providing support where you might have to like directly like remotely interact with a system, like it makes sense to have at least, well, I mean, you have to have some form of telemetry or
Yeah.
at least optional connectability.
Because let's be honest, most people probably don't know what their system specs are if they're running Windows. Let's be like, people just buy a laptop or buy a thing. They probably don't know. So, I mean, if they need help, I mean, it's there from Microsoft and they can help you. That's my whole. I don't know. I don't think telemetry
What about like Microsoft Teams or all these applications that
What about
Microsoft
it?
packages? Like eventually they might require like we want your email, or your Microsoft account.
They already
mean,
do.
No, I don't want to give you that. I just want to
They
use
al-
your service.
They already do. They already do. You
That's my
have.
point.
Wait, what? Well, I mean, your point is like, well, what if Google starts requiring a Google account to use their services? Like, that's how they operate already. Like, that's how they've always operated. You got to have a Google account to do anything.
Well, that's why a lot of people don't like them too. People would want to use
Well,
maybe the
but
search engine or some of their
see,
applications
that
without being
whole
tied into the
argument,
Google
that,
ecosystem.
hold on. That whole argument falls apart because no, that's not why you don't like it. You don't like it because it's proprietary. You can't read the source code and
I
see what
agree
they're
with you.
doing with it. It's not that they require an account. Like that's not why. Like it's just you can't trust them. Like there's that, and then also like the thing that sets Microsoft apart from other companies is they have proven themselves over time to be a distrustful, greedy, and quite frankly disgusting company, and like that's just their track record.
Well, going back on this video though, what's he doing this install? Does
Well,
he
he's-
reinstall it?
No, he switched. Well,
That's why he lands on
it's
Manjaro?
With you guys along for the ride,
Oh.
the things that were not entirely ridiculous or unreasonable. So you can be mad at me for breaking it, but just at least acknowledge that it could have happened to anyone who's not already fully, well versed in the.
It hasn't been
black
that way
arts
for a
of
while, but it
Linux.
used to be a rite of passage to break your
Okay, hold on a
system when you
second.
started
I
using
didn't manage to
Linux.
catch the
Exactly,
boot selector
exactly.
prompt. Started complaining about USB devices. Feels like the old days, doesn't it? I made a video.
Oh, it looks so
about
good.
our
I love pulling
10
stuff out of the
gig
package like
NAS
that.
using Emulex cards. 9 years ago in this very room.
Yeah, I'm
A lot of
definitely not a
memories
Windows
in this
fanboy.
house. Mixed feelings on moving. Manjaro went straight into the live boot environment, so we're just gonna launch the installer. And good luck, everybody.
I got Wine installed through the software.
This guy's already ahead of the game.
You can find Lutris in the software manager.
So I'm gonna install
So,
Wine,
I just went to
my favorite
Lutris
apps,
website,
everything I need,
follow
my browser.
command line.
I would suggest
stuff.
following the
And I now
instructions
have
on
Lutris,
Wine HQ
which
website
we'll
for your
close for now
distribution.
and use later. The
Well, I mean,
software manager
that's
has
if you're going
But
to be
I'm
using
running
Wine.
Wine staging
Well, I
too, though.
selected
Well, but that,
install.
for most gamers, they're
It
just
made
going
me
to
put
install
in
Steam.
my
They don't
password
they don't even
twice.
need to mess around with
Yeah.
Wine.
Now it's
Steam and Lutris, and then see if Lutris
never
automatically
stopped
does a format.
trying to
I mean,
do
that's the
that
thing. You
removing
normally
thing,
don't
but I
even need
just
to mess
closed
around
the
with
package
Lutris.
manager.
Most gamers, all they
Um,
need is Steam. Like that's
clicked
it.
onto
Like as soon as they have their
called
Steam
Start.
account, they're
I don't know if it's
off
called
to the
Start here.
races.
And Steam was
And then
sitting
like
right
later
there.
on, you'll start
So I
messing around
launched
with
it,
GOG and
and
all
it
your like trying to get
seems
Epic
to
Games, seeing if
be
that will work
working.
or whatever. Like you'll go out
So
from
maybe
there.
we're fine.
But like Steam's the home base, and then you start exploring out. from
There he
there.
is.
Okay.
Home base.
Sweet. I'm gonna log in. I'll see you on the other side.
I just want you guys to be here with me for the experience so that
Click
if
it,
I
click-
completely explode this one, you'll at least know why, maybe. You can leave a know-it-all comment under the video. I'm ready. Come at me, guys. I'm trying here. I'm trying.
You are trying. I see that.
Well, he needs sound anyway.
At least he didn't. He's
Microsoft
installing
has
it
a very
again.
broken sound
Trying.
situation right now, but this is worse.
So it's nice.
Hey, is my game controller picked up? Just
I
like
see
that?
the exterior of those
Oh,
synthetic
nice.
bags are actually.
Look at that. Why are the two columns open source
Wait,
and
hold on,
install?
hold on.
The exterior of
Um,
those bags.
So
Yeah, no, they're
TFL,
not
you
fine.
brought up a good point, but I don't know where it came from. Like, what is that in response to? Like, did someone just
He took
yeah,
out
yeah,
the
network card.
graphics. Yeah.
Who?
of the network
Not
card.
Linus.
And laid it
Yeah,
on top of the
yeah.
bag.
oh?
It's not end of
ew.
the world. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it was literally unless there's static in the.
To be honest with you, TFL, I've done that all my life.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Well, here's the thing. I never do it when I'm building a computer, ever. Like when I've spent a lot of money on it. But
Well-
like when I bought my S7000, I mean, it was like a $75 card or whatever. I mean, I set that like just on top of the bag and shit. Like,
Yeah, essentially
'Cause-
they're it's the electro discharge, and it's supposed to be on the outside, right? So you don't want to.
Well,
What's protecting the inside, you don't want to put it on the outside.
the interior of the bag is anti-static. The outside is
Yeah.
not. So
I
the
always-
outside is actually conductive. Now, it is not nearly as highly as conductive.
It's carpet.
No, it's not nearly as highly conductive as people make it out to be. Like people would make you believe that's a fucking wire. Like, you know, it's like hot wiring. Like all of your
I always
circuits,
prefer
you
to
know.
put it on the bag, like instead of carpet or the cardboard or like the box. Like I
Just
always
it's
place it instead of placing it on the carpet, I'll place it on the box or something.
I mean, it doesn't matter unless you're rubbing it fucking as hard as you can. Just literally, don't worry about it. Like, there's no point. Like,
Look at that. I use embedded systems all the time and never have an issue.
Embedded systems are fine.
that's pretty cool. I actually do want some embedded systems, but
Does this mean, is this proprietary? Because that's what I think I told it to do.
This always got me
Server
too.
Settings. What is X server? X server gonna give it to you what? Okay.
What?
All right, this seems to do kind of what we need it to do. I'll figure this out later. Let's get Steam. Let's see if we can get Steam. I saw something about Steam in that update that made me restart. Oh, Steam runtime. Hello. Oh, we're updating again. No problem.
Okay, Steam installed, no problems. I'm going to quickly go to my settings, go to Steam Play, enable Steam Play for all other
Yes,
titles.
it was a
and then have,
DMX reference for sure.
I guess we'll do Proton 6.3-7. and then I'll go to shader pre-caching and allow background processing of Vulkan
Nice.
shaders. Okay, so we got to restart Steam real quick. Well, I believe FTL has a native
Hey,
Linux
TFL
version.
almost.
I'm just going to install directly, and we're gaming on Linux, boys. There we go.
Damn, this guy's having a good experience.
I think I'm
Yeah.
done.
I mean,
The
that's the
first
thing.
challenge.
Luke
That
has
wasn't
a fine
really
time.
a challenge. I suspect we will run into major challenges down the line.
Library. Oh yeah. Oh hey, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, boom. And no dice on the controller, even though it was picked up by the system.
Now, when I skipped ahead, was anyone surprised to find out that he was having issues?
No.
I'm glad.
need to figure that
I almost
out
cut you off saying that.
This video ended up a lot longer than I expected. The goal was simple: install Linux and run a game. And I managed to screw it up so royally that I'm here hours later still trying to figure it out.
True.
This is a native Linux game.
I do the same thing though sometimes with other things.
Let's just play it. And we're gaming.
Nice.
It's running nice and smooth. This is a native game, so this is really not that much of a challenge. My sound still isn't working. But we're gaming, and it seems to have just been a cave story issue because my controller is working just fine. I don't. Whatever. Attack.
Y'all thought he
There we go.
wouldn't drop something. And it
Hopefully
didn't.
Luke had an easier go of it than I did. The best part of this whole thing is that we are just getting started. A lot of the games that I want to run.
Okay, so now it's time for part 2.
I like either part 2 or part 3. I like
Hell yeah, Rich.
especially with seeing them try to copy paste files.
Would you install Nano as a snap? Jesus
I always do it, bro.
Christ.
I do all the time. It works fine.
As a snap?
Yeah, bro.
What's it called?
It works fine.
I like
Doesn't
seeing-
Nano already come with your system anyway?
Yeah,
No, yeah, but
yeah.
I removed it and installed the snap instead.
Oh yeah, you're a beast. What's it called? I can't. I like to see that Linus. He tries to copy paste a file.
Oh yeah, that number 3.
Well, we're going to go to episode 2 right now
Biscuits.
and watch that.
Death to Microsoft!
Flat packs. I do agree with that. Flat packs. I love using flat packs, especially when I was on Debian 11.
You to your grave!
This
Your
guy.
tyrannical reign over PC gamers is at an end! Freedom!
Is what I would say if I lived with Linus Wallace III over here in Fantasyland, where any of that was true. So far, the 1-month Linux Gaming Challenge has been as advertised. A challenge. And in part 2, Luke and I are going to be taking it to the next level by not just gaming on Linux, but by recording and streaming our gameplay to viewers on Twitch. Now, I'd be lying if I said I'm not expecting some speed bumps.
Yes.
Like this small one here to tell you about our sponsor.
Damn
Are
it.
you running into
Gross.
poor quality
Skip.
video? With our desktop environment set up, Luke and I have a deceptively short pre-flight checklist of tasks to complete to be streaming ready. We'll need comms to chat and collaborate with our fellow creators. And
Comms, okay, we'll call them
software that's
comms from now
capable of
on.
Capturing our gameplay, audio, and face cams.
And obviously,
We'll
we'll need
categorize
the
it as that from now
aforementioned
on.
audio interfaces and cameras both working.
We both use Elgato key lights, which we've always controlled using Windows software.
Damn.
So we'll both need to find a workaround for that.
And no points will be awarded for having an ugly or bad sounding stream. It's got to look every bit as legit from a viewer perspective as it did on Windows.
Immediately,
Cortime.
I started
I
overthinking
think so
things.
too.
Sometimes that's the problem
Yeah.
with knowing just enough to be dangerous. I tried to apt-get OBS, the industry standard
Yeah,
for
Luke
desktop
does have a
capture
nice
and
setup.
streaming in
It's
the terminal.
my-
only to
I could do the
discover
same
that
setup, TFL.
Manjaro, the Linux distribution that I'm using, doesn't come with apt because apt is for managing packages on Debian and related OSs.
Oops.
Making life more difficult, the message that comes up when you try to execute the command doesn't say, hey, you should probably be using Pac-Man, you dunce. It tries to install some kind of dependency. for
Sure it
apt,
does. Doesn't it?
Then just
No, it says
No.
command not found or something like that, don't
Command not found. Yeah. Because app's not
Wait,
installed on the system.
Yeah, it
Look.
says command not found. But then on I forget, on Debian or Ubuntu it said try installing with apt install. That's the
Yeah.
Well, it will
Apt,
try
command
doing
not
that,
found
but
on Manjaro.
on Debian or Ubuntu, it's still going to do the same fucking thing because guess what? when it searches the repositories, it's not going to be able to find Pac-Man in its repositories. So it's going to be like command not found. So on those distributions, you're going to get the same message. Like, the argument that he's making here, I understand it, and it's not necessarily that he's wrong or anything. It's a valid argument. Like, hey, you should like tell me, but also at the same time, his argument is really, as distros, the welcome screen should familiarize the user with your package manager. Not only should you highlight your software
which he
center,
skipped.
exactly. Well, still, no matter what, like your software center, like most welcomes don't even cover the software center, or I mean, not software center, their package manager. They just cover the software center. So addressing the software center and the package manager, explaining them both, a quick sort of briefer, like a quick, debrief, for both would be nice.
Right, Black Worm, as far as I know, as far as Bash is concerned, you could be on an Apple.
Exactly.
I'm sure though it's easy for the devs or someone to program some kind of like, hey,
well,
you type,
but
like,
then at
type
that
in
point, but at that point, do you have to make it so that every single distribution recognizes every single other package manager when it's attempted to be ran, so that it can tell them to, hey, try and run the actual one? That's way too much. There are way too many package managers out there to support that whole idea and argument. Like, no, just the best thing to do is actually explain, like, very clearly on your website, and also, in the actual welcome screen, like, hey, our actual terminal package
And yes,
manager.
Crazy Chicken, that is the bigger question. He's using Manjaro. Why is he even in the terminal? Why isn't he using the GUI package manager?
Mm-hmm.
You do have a good point. KDE's software center is superb.
And so is Manjaro's. I think that one's perfect.
No, well, I mean,
Yeah, I disagree with what he says about
he's using
Manjaro's
KDE, so.
GUI software center. I think it's in the next video. I disagree with him. It's fine.
I've ton of Apple. Like, I've all the support I want out of the box.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the thing is like, you do have to follow the setup guide to actually set up the FlatHub repositories and start pulling them in. And I don't know why he complains about that. That's like really not that.
It was 2 lines that I didn't even need to worry about. It just copy paste it. Hey, cool. Thanks, experts.
Quietly fails and prompts you to do the same thing again when you try to use it. Infinite loop, baby. Speaking of which, I had a panic moment when I checked OBS compatibility and found out that it is actually unsupported in Arch, by the way, and its derivatives. But the good news is that upon launch, I was immediately relieved to find that it works exactly as expected, with some exceptions. For example, the NVENC new encoder doesn't show up as an option, which appears to be down to NVIDIA's poop-tastic drivers on Linux. Side note here, I always kind of assumed that the Linux community was grousing about NVIDIA primarily for their locked down proprietary approach.
That was like a post from 2 years ago.
And that it had less to do with the actual quality of the product. Now, I properly understand that it is definitely both. As mentioned, core product functionality from like a couple of years ago is missing. The control panel looks like it's from 10 years ago, and the interface is kind of confusing. Thankfully, I was able to enable G-Sync on my display.
What is that
but
font?
for whatever reason, you allow it in order to actually turn it on, which you then verify in a completely different tab. And this kind of confusion is not a deal breaker. It's just
I had to open my thing just to
obvious
see my font so I
that
could heal my
The Linux
eyes.
software has never gotten the kind of TLC from the UX team that the Windows software does.
For me, acquiring OBS was no problem. I just got it from the package manager and it was all okay. Once installed though, we noticed something. Window capture on Linux can be a little problematic. We couldn't seem to get it working at all at the start. I had an option for it, but it didn't work, and Linus didn't even have that. But a few days later, I tried it again for a different project, and it worked just fine. I checked in with Linus, and his did too. Neither of us know what might have fixed it, but that's cool, I guess.
The bigger issue for me ended up being the software that just doesn't exist. There are third-party tools, for example, that allow
No,
key
that was not
remapping.
Comic Sans.
Keyboarding Master is evidently a popular one. But if your peripherals have a manufacturer-provided tool that is used to reconfigure RGB lighting, or the lift-off distance of your mouse, or the sensitivity steps of your DPI button, then get ready to install Windows in a virtual machine, pass those devices through, configure them, and then hand them back over to Linux. It's extremely tedious and doesn't even remotely.
I don't think I've ever. What?
If your
Some of that
if your
stuff
device
run
has
in wine, and
no,
other than that stuff.
no, you
you're-
can't. You can't. For most of what he's talking about, those configuring those
Right.
devices, you're gonna have to go into a Windows VM. You're gonna have
Right.
to. Just
Okay.
Like, yeah, like I mean, now you are right. For there are some that you can just use in wine, but there's a prime majority of them. You're gonna go ahead. Like, to me, I would say it's more worth it to just go ahead and install a VM, because it's really not hard to pass a USB device through to it, or like any device on your system through to a VM. So, like, just
you wouldn't even have to use a VM if you had a laptop. You could always plug into a laptop or another device if you really needed to as well.
well, I mean, if you don't,
Yeah, if you don't, VM's easier.
or if your setup's complicated and shit, and you can't really afford to go and unplug everything, replug it up, and do all that shit. Like, yeah, I mean, a VM's not that hard, but I do agree with this point that that's not a real that's not a solution. That's just like that's just a way to do what you need to do. Like that's not Linux enabling you to do anything. That's you literally getting around the non-support for Linux, which again is not Linux's fault. But to a new to Linux user, that doesn't fucking matter. It just they know is they have to go into Windows to be able to configure this shit, because the shitty piece of like Elgato software doesn't work. I mean,
but it sucks though, because they're spending $500 on a fucking audio mixer. It doesn't work unless a VM. It sucks.
yeah. I mean, I understand. I also understand saying it's not a Linux problem, because yes, it's not a Linux problem.
Again,
but that doesn't
being
matter.
Forced.
You're not being forced. It's not like, dude, the conspiracy.
We'll bring it back.
Look,
we'll bring it back to Windows, bitch.
The conspiracy theory is not like the conspiracy theory mindset is so dumb. Like, dude, it's not a conspiracy. Like, look, these like Elgato, like all they want to do is sell is make money. Okay, like, look, if you want to make money, what you do is you don't spend a lot of money. You make your product and you make the software for it, and then you sell it. And as far as Elgato's concerned,
you make sure only Microsoft supports it, because that's the only way to make money.
Everyone's fucking using Microsoft and Mac, so that's what they make it work on. Like the 1% or up to at most, like if we're being super generous, 5% of people out there use Linux, and that's super generous.
Yeah.
If 5% of people get upset that the software doesn't work on them, as far as Elgato's concerned, fuck them. They're making shitloads of money. Who cares? Like, why would we, like, I mean, if you think about it as Elgato, why would we waste 15 to upwards of $100,000 developing a Linux port for all of our proprietary software when we wouldn't make any extra money? Like,
I see their standpoint. I just don't like it.
I mean, I understand not liking it, but being like it's a conspiracy theory and like Microsoft is like slowly trying to like control the world is like, no, it's just companies are lazy and they want to make profit. That's it. Like, it's not some grand conspiracy theory. It's just greed. That's it.
Yep. I agree.
Restore full functionality. For example,
agree with
don't
that,
expect
actually.
to get a low battery warning for your G Pro wireless
What the heck is that mouse?
And it's even worse for my audio interface. The Go XLR has a handful of unique features, including decent preamps, reprogrammable.
And just to respond to Blackworm really quick, because he had a good comment, he's like, you're right, but 5% is still money. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sorry, but if they make Linux ports of their software, you still won't go out and purchase one of their products because guess what? Their software is proprietary. So it's again not worth it unless they want to change everything. And again, we're not worth it. I'm sorry, but billionaires are not using Arch Linux at their house and forcing like all of their friends and family to use it too. Like it's not, the money is not in it the same way. Okay.
Where is the monies?
Screen labels, built-in soundboard function, and the infamous beep button that I am so fond of using during my live streams. About the kind of bullshit that NVIDIA puts me through, I'll have it in the affiliate link down below, by the way. The bad news about it is that, as far as I can tell, TC Helicon has given exactly zero thought to Linux whatsoever. But wait, there's a solution. All I have to do is follow these simple instructions to download a random script off GitHub and run it, with no indication given whatsoever for how exactly to run a script. Even the process of downloading it was unintuitive. And I know GitHub is for developers and not for end users, but it's really hard to hide behind that shield when it took me less than 2 days to run into a situation where I had to use it. I mean, at that point, if GitHub is only for developers, then desktop Linux is only for developers. You can't have it both ways.
That issue, though, didn't have anything to do with Linux.
Our mouse mats are rated 5.
That's him not knowing how to use GitHub.
And then blaming Linux like a little kid.
And then Linux on top of it.
He didn't blame Linux. His argument is very valid. If you are running under that mindset, then that's true. If GitHub is only for developers, then guess what? Linux is only for developers.
I remember though, like spending years in Linux, not thinking that I need to be able to use GitHub to use Linux. Like I remember using Linux as a regular user, desktop user, and just I hope to learn Git one day.
I mean, yeah, learning to use Git's kind of nice, but it's not very difficult to learn to use Git. But he's talking about GitHub. He's like, if GitHub is only for developers, then Linux is too. And that's if that's your mindset, then yeah, well, that's exactly what you're saying. Because like, look, GitHub is where people like, I'm not a developer, but I go to GitHub and GitLab all the time. Like my Pokemon scripts, I get that off of GitHub. I have to go to me and Matt do our show notes through GitLab, which is essentially GitHub. I don't understand why so many people do have that mindset. Like, yes, it is unintuitive to where the button is called clone to download it. Like, yeah, that is unintuitive for someone who doesn't know anything about development or who's not familiar with GitHub or GitLab. It's a good argument. And he's not saying that Linux is for developers. He's saying if you have that mindset and you're telling people GitHub is only for developers, then that's just like saying Linux is only for developers. And his argument is valid because that's not what you want to be saying. You don't want to be saying that.
By the way, Matt, Jinx. I tell you, I typed like the same shit Matt just typed at the same time.
Command line basement dwellers are the reason why Linux will never gain any traction in the desktop market. Their opinion of people living in a bubble should be outright discarded. I think people being rude and talking about other people in the Linux community highly negatively, it will keep people out. Like, look, like, it's not about it. It doesn't matter, man. Like, if you like using the command line, guess what? Use the command line. If you Don't like using it? Don't use it. Like, it's not the point. It doesn't matter.
I mean,
and guess what?
OS, like we'll always say that OSs are stupid, and to disagree with that, like OS, like the computer is dumb. I've always been told this my whole life, always, especially from the smartest minds in the world. Computers are dumb. They're not smart until you tell them to be smart, or you manipulate them to be smart.
Well, they're never smart. They
exactly.
just they can.
It's
they
not
can
the other way
do,
around. It's not for you. It's not going to be magically smart for you. You have to be the smart one.
Well, no,
You
not you, but someone does. Like whoever programs it has to be smart and know what they're telling the computer to do.
Well, you also have to be the smart one to manipulate that stuff. If like the same thing goes for my mom. Like my mom will belligerently not like this should be just easy for me to use. Like it is. If you would just take the 2 seconds to take a breather. Like no. Back in my day, we didn't have a computer. Like okay, well listen, then computers aren't for you. Get out of here. And that same goes for Microsoft because like there's so many things on Microsoft that people aren't using, or how do I do this or how do I do that, and I don't know.
So essentially, what you're saying is the problem with Windows and Linux and everything is that there are people out there who are ignorant and don't know how to use them.
Exactly. You can't tailor 100% of anything to the user. That's like, why don't we have cars that drive 100% for the users nowadays?
Dude, I don't see that as a problem. Like guess what? Right now, you're ignorant. I'm ignorant. Jeff's ignorant. Dylan's ignorant about something. Like, we're all ignorant about something. We just convince ourselves we're really smart about a lot of things. Like just because your mom's ignorant about computers doesn't mean that she has no right to use them. Just because you're ignorant about books doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to read them. Just because you're ignorant about movies and cinema and good art doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to consume them.
And then at the same time, you say, well, books suck. Books suck. They're just total trash. I don't know why people read them. They're just words on a fucking book. At the same time, that could be interpreted by someone else. I hate that because I love books, or they're magical, or I imagine things. Well, the same could be for the Linux desktop or this, or for the computers as well. Not just Linux, but computers at the same time.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, everyone's going to have a personal preference. Like, some people are going to think Linux sucks, and that's just like, I don't understand the idea that like Linux needs to gain massive like a massive movement in market share, or needs to grow. Like, dog, how in the absolute fuck do you guys not understand? Linux is not a company. It's not going anywhere. It's not going up. It's not fighting against anybody else. It's not doing any magical shit. It's literally just here. It exists.
To expand.
It. Like, the only good thing about Linux is that it gets talked about. Like, the dumbest shit is that people get themselves riled up, upset, and bitch and argue about Linux. And that is what keeps people from actually using it. They might, the whole thing is just to be exposed to it. And if your exposure to Linux is people inside of the community just bitching and arguing to each other, you're like, why the fuck would I ever even talk to these people? I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, the diversity in Linux is a good thing. Yeah, it's overwhelming. Yeah, it causes problems. But guess what? We're not trying to compete with Windows. Windows can sell as many copies as they want a year. It doesn't affect Linux one bit. Because guess what? Every single year it gets better.
I think I made the statement too, because what's it called? Who said this?
I think Matt brought up a good point. I love bitching and arguing about Linux. Most of us do. And that's the thing.
You can't. So the Linux you can't expect the majority of people to do what you do to get things done. And the same goes for me. I don't you shouldn't expect anything. Don't expect anything from your computer. Expect something from yourself. Expect what you want from yourself to learn in the computers. You shouldn't hop in and say this is a computer. This is genius. I remember growing up, my mom and everybody else thinking this is a computer. It's genius. It's no, it's not. It's fucking stupid. It's stupid.
Well, it's smart. It can do awesome things, and that's why it's deceptive.
But it's at the manipulation of ones and zeros, at the contemplation of hierarchies, that human beings created.
But you don't need to understand that. That's the thing. You don't need to. And the thing about Linux is you're going the reason why we are all passionate about Linux and we're even having this discussion is because we like tinkering around in Linux.
Yeah.
We like learning more about our computer. And the whole thing about this challenge and everything is seeing if Linux has gotten to the point where it caters to people who don't care about that. And like the thing is the people who don't care about that have just as much of a right to use a computer as you do. Like, and because they're ignorant and look, if I showed you American Beauty, a lot of people who aren't really into like cinema and really aren't into art wouldn't really grasp just how incredible that movie is. I mean, that movie literally ends with you pretty much realizing the absolute beauty in a plastic bag from a grocery store blowing around in the wind outside of a storage place. Like it's the most beautiful movie. But just because someone is,
That's
not
a good
into cinema. No, you're good. Just because someone's not that into cinema doesn't mean they don't have a right to share their opinion on it or say that, hey, I didn't like the movie. I didn't think it was good. And this is why. Like their argument is just as bad. Like the thing that I've learned is like devaluing someone else's argument is always a bad thing. Like it never leads to anything good. It doesn't matter how wrong or how dumb whatever led to their problem is, or how dumb in general their problem is, or their opinion or perspective is. If you completely devalue it, then you can't ever have an interaction, a healthy interaction with a person who thinks like that. And guess what? Even though a lot of people are different, a lot of people do have similar perspectives.
A good point I wanted to make was a calculator. All right, back years and years ago when I got handed my first calculator, okay? I'm not going to hand you a calculator and go, good luck. Or, man, this tool sucks because I don't know ones and zeros or numbers. Like, you have to take the steps to learn your numericals, your numbers. Like, no one expects you to say, like, hey, you're not smart, or this, or you should give up, or hate this, or, I'm not even just talking about Linux. I'm talking about the BSDs in that fact, the other Microsofts at that fact, because there's a lot deeper. Like, when you want to talk about Microsoft, like, go to college for computers and dive 1 year in and tell me, like, you aren't, then you'll be like, dude,
but
you'll be ripping your hair out.
But that's not a
calculator.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about shit just working for the people who don't.
But a calculator is a computer, though. If I handed it to you and you didn't know how to use a calculator, would that make sense? I mean, the calculator's smart. The calculator has everything you need to do for it. Everything in it.
No. Hold on. See, your analogy doesn't work.
Why?
Because essentially your analogy, it doesn't work because it's not that you're being given a calculator that you have never used before and being told to use it and expected to know how to use it. It's you're given, like, imagine being given like in the fourth or fifth grade, like you're familiar with the basic calculator, like you multiplying, division, all of that stuff. You can hold on. Oh, bless me. I'm sorry.
And that's another thing. A mechanic to drive a car, too, you should very much know how to do a lot of things. And that's what I think we've degraded in this country as well, for our country. That's why you see all these cars going to crap, or people not knowing how to do their stuff or live right.
I don't think it's just
money.
Our country, man. Well, it's not really a problem. Like, the problem is we don't have people going into those specialties. Like, because there's dude, if you want to fix your car, there has never been a better time to live, ever. Like, you can find guides. You can probably find a video of a guy who had his friend record him doing it literally live, so you can watch someone fix and do the process that you need to do to fix your car. Like, you have never lived in a better time to fix it. So I think the argument that people aren't doing it is not really the problem. It's, we've hit this point where no one's fucking working and no one's doing shit. So and also people aren't going into those technical fields. And so it's kind of scary because no one wants to fix stuff. No one wants to learn how to do these things. And so when people aren't going into the fields, it's worrying. But I mean, we're kind of getting off topic because, like, what I was saying was, like, really what we're talking about here when it comes to Linux is you've been trained on a basic calculator and then you're given a completely different one with, you know, like way more features and stuff. Like, I don't know, like you're going from the basic simple calculator that you have like on your iPhone to the, you know, Texas TI calculator. And
how about you were trained on an abacus and now someone hands you a Texas Instrument calculator you're used to an abacus. You have no idea what you're looking at.
Similar things, like, I mean, they do the same basic functions, but they function in a completely different way, and they even look completely different. Like, it's not necessarily that people don't know how to switch over and use Linux. It's just, it's different, and Linux is rough around the edges. I don't think that's ever been a wrong statement. And quite frankly, if we're being honest, I think most of us in this live stream can agree that's why we like Linux. The rough around the edges part is the fun part. Like, you know, the actual like ability to fuck up your system is kind of nice because that means you kind of own it. Like, you know, like, I mean, if you have the ability to look, let's be honest, we're all people here. We all kind of screw up, make mistakes. It's a human thing. It feels natural when you can actually screw up your PC because you don't want to, and it's annoying when it does screw up, but at least knowing that you can do that kind of stuff, you can play with the system to the point where you've completely borked it. Like, I could go in here and install so many extensions and make this thing look insane that it barely functions. It begs for mercy. Like, I can do that. We are talking about Linus, not a newbie. I want to go ahead and clarify this. I've said this before, but look, Linus is somebody who can help you with Linux. He can help you with hardware, and he can also help you with building a great PC. He can also help you with finding out the best software for certain tasks. However, he will stumble through everything. He's a klutz. If you watch his videos, he's that type of guy who sets shit on the edge of the counter and he's like, it'll be fine, walks away and it falls. Of course. He's that kind of guy who stumbles his way through software. How many videos have you watched where he's like, all right, so we're going to sit down and this is going to be 1, 2, 3 process. And then 6 steps later, he's like, okay, so we've gotten it functioning. Like, he stumbles through things. I don't understand this idea that Linus is Anthony. I don't understand. The whole point of this challenge is Linus is not Anthony. He's not the tech god of Linus Tech Tips. That's Anthony. I mean, if we're being completely honest, I feel like Anthony has become the backbone of that company. Like,
right.
But all right, let's go ahead and get
5 stars with literally thousands of reviews. Go see what all the fuss is about at the link below. Any reason problem. Exactly the same fundamental purpose, hinting at the contents of the file. The only difference is that these hints for the user are also used as hints for the operating system. It's actually a lot more convenient than digging into the properties of the file to find out what it does. Anyway, pompous tone aside, that contributor did help me figure out my GitHub download. So turns out that right-click Save Target As gets you an HTML file in .sh clothing because
hey Scott, it's coming back through
some borderline arbitrary reason probably. And in order to get it to be an actual .sh file, I had to copy it into a text editor, Kate, and then save that as a script and execute it in the terminal. It spat out a bunch of errors, and as I expected, most of the buttons don't work, but all the inputs and outputs that I had already configured in Windows did show up. My faders work. I even have my button until my GoXLR loses power for any reason, at which point I will have to pass it through to Windows, reconfigure it in Windows, and then pass it back over to Linux without losing power. Compared to that, all the other stuff is minor, I hope.
The most notable issue I had was that my audio devices were just kind of screwy in OBS. My voice came across very unnaturally deep, and it sounded like my mic input had been duplicated.
My voice just feels deep right now. I don't know if I've got something lodged or what.
And
yeah.
Chat was pretty convinced that I had set something up incorrectly, and if I was a viewer of my stream, I probably would have said the same thing. But I've been using OBS for like 6 or 7 years now, so I had my doubts. I even streamed my OBS settings panel to prove it, but eventually, feeling out of options, I just restarted OBS, and yeah, that solved pretty much everything. Which was kind of frustrating, because I've heard time and time again that you don't have to turn things off and on again to get them working in Linux, but hey, maybe that's just because I'm not really great at Linux yet. Maybe there's something else I could have done. Not sure. On the good side of things though, my mixer has worked flawlessly from the start, though it is pretty simple as far as mixers go. I didn't have to change any settings, I didn't have to install anything for it, I just set it as my default input device and was good to go.
once I got PAMAC figured out, getting comms going was surprisingly simple. PAMAC is a program with a graphical user interface that functions similarly to the Pacman package manager that you operate in the terminal. At least it does once you find the hidden button in PAMAC to search Snap, Flatpak, and Arch user repository entries. It's basically like the Pop Shop from Pop! OS, except it didn't try to brick my system the first time I used it. The only really difficult thing was choosing the right package to install for Discord. There's regular Discord, and then there's Canary Discord, whatever that is. I chose the most official looking package, and I was up and running almost immediately once I found the super convenient per application volume mixer in the bottom right corner. The interface is kind of kludgy, like scrolling with your mouse wheel scrolls through both the audio devices and the levels of the individual devices, which is not great. But other than that, it works really well, and my first voice call to Luke went completely without a hitch. Or it would have if I'd known that it was starting. Unfortunately, I actually still have not figured out how to get desktop notifications working. I found a guide, but the instructions fell apart almost immediately when my Discord package didn't show up in the list where it's supposed to be for me to fix it. I think that's probably a project for another day.
Discord was an easy install for me. Again, it was just automatically available in Package Manager. That being said, there was certain missing features. Screen sharing across Slack, Teams, and Discord are kind of sketchy at best. They feel less stable, or they're even missing some features here and there. Outside of that, there's even really simple stuff missing every now and then. Like if I download a file in Slack and then try to click the Open Containing Folder button, just nothing happens. And speaking of missing features, I used the phone app for the Elgato Control Center just like Linus did. I had found another solution through a script on GitHub, but I thought that way would potentially be problematic in the long term, so I just avoided it. Unfortunately for my camera, however, Canon EOS Utilities doesn't work on Linux. I'd been using that software on Windows for quite a while now to get a live feed from my Canon 70D over USB to my computer. It was flawless and didn't require a capture card. I do have an AVIO 4K capture card, which
Mobile decay. What are you talking about? The stream is scary with the ominous laughing. Ominous laughing. What?
I don't understand.
You probably have a video going on in the background, brother. But so I do have a point here. What he's about to talk here, or talk about and dive into, yeah, capture cards on Linux, notoriously bitchy. Notorious.
does work on Linux, but I don't have the micro HDMI cable that it would need to connect to my camera. I could pick one up, But just for this challenge, I decided to
TFL.
go with my old Logitech C920, which while it doesn't remotely look as good, it works just fine. And when you make the window for it really small, no one can really tell.
I think overall the easiest part for me was getting my Camlink 4K up and running. It was garbled when I selected one of the duplicate sources in OBS, but immediately after trying the second one, it cleared up and has been picture perfect ever since. So it works, but there's a much larger upfront investment in getting it working. The question is just whether it feels worth it.
In the end, it worked. If you connected to the stream after we were done about 15 minutes of troubleshooting while we were just in the thick of trying not to starve, I'm sure any random viewer wouldn't have been able to tell a difference between one of my old Windows streams and this one. Audio was good, capture was good. That's where the good ends, however. Literally everything I used past this point was a lesser experience compared to its Windows counterpart. Almost everything was missing at least one feature, and some, I'd say most notably OBS and Teams, were just buggy, requiring restarts for simple settings to actually apply, and had other various problems. It definitely wasn't impossible, and it was actually easier than I expected, but due to various bugs, missing features, and incompatible software, it wasn't as simple or clean as doing it on Windows, though I wouldn't say that was enough for it to be a deal breaker.
For me, the bottom line is what you're looking to get out of it. If you're daily driving Linux for games,
All right, can we talk about this for a second? What he just said there is very accurate, okay? Like, it's not a deal breaker, but there's a lot of projects that, like, they work on Linux now, but they don't work great. And, like, they're not deal breakers or anything, but, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a pretty solid statement, you know? Arch is fine if you know what you're doing, but it can be a pain for people who don't want that investment into Linux. I mean, you're definitely right. Like, it's too much for somebody who doesn't want to have to deal with installing all that shit and possibly forgetting something that they need that they didn't know. Like, possibly if you don't install a desktop environment, but you install a window manager, you don't install a notification manager, you never get notifications. There's all this kind of stuff.
Well, and his Discord was, Linus's Discord was probably on streamer mode. Of course, he's not going to get notifications. It's blocking him.
Yep.
Because it thinks he's streaming and doesn't want to go beep, 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 beep on his stream. It's doing what it's supposed to.
Well, see, here's the thing. TFL, you're right. You're right that it's not on Linux. You're 100% right. However, that doesn't matter. That literally doesn't matter. Like, that's just like saying the reason why I left Windows 11 because OBS was making it to where, like, my computer performed like shit while trying to play a game while live. Like, me saying it's an issue with Windows is not accurate, but however, saying it's a deal breaker for me using Windows, that's accurate. Like, that's my opinion. Like, it's a deal breaker for me. Like, I need to be able to stream. Like, it's a real problem with the OS. If the software doesn't work on the OS, it's a real problem. Now, did he try any Flatpak snap options? We will never know.
I'm going to be that guy. The OBS snap, even if you don't like snaps, that OBS snap is up to date and has the extra plugins put into it out of the box. And they probably would have been a better experience for him.
There needs to be a single, polished, standardized, complete, beginner-friendly distro. Just one. That makes no sense. Because there can't. Because we would never agree on which single, polished... Because what do you mean by polished? What is Ubuntu polished? Some people would disagree with that. Is Fedora polished? Some people would disagree with that. Is Manjaro polished? Some people would disagree with that.
Don't you say KDE? Don't you say KDE over there?
Well, again, people would say KDE is not polished. Some people would say GNOME's not polished. Some people would say XFCE is not polished.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a highly KDE is a highly polished turd. Come on.
That is awesome. So I mean, like, yeah, I don't think there could just be one that we'd ever agree on. Now, could we benefit from some form of standardization inside of Linux? Fuck yes. That would be amazing. But even then, there would be, there would be multiple different standardized groups because we couldn't fucking agree on which standardized group to go with. So then it would be completely pointless. So, yeah, I don't know. Better yet, OBS is good in Linux, so I won't use or OBS isn't good in Linux, so I won't use Linux. Well, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what he's saying there. He's like it wasn't good in Linux, but it wasn't a deal breaker, you know, for using Linux. That's exactly what he's saying. I mean, we can rewind the tape, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said. You know, it's not a deal breaker, but they're not working properly in Linux. These guys are downloading arbitrary scripts off GitHub. I mean, I run arbitrary scripts off GitHub. I mean,
said that.
Let me just pull down my Pokemon color scripts, you know. Hey, come on. Everybody needs a couple arbitrary scripts on their system. Let's just be real, okay? Plus, even if we had a beginner's distro, it wouldn't matter if the noob wasn't willing to learn how to use it. True.
Streaming out of a genuine passion for learning more about it. Have at it, have fun, but just know what you're getting into. PC gaming already requires a certain amount of tinkering. I mean, there's a reason that more people game on consoles. You know, whether it's trying to track down save files in some Vista era folder or forcing an aspect ratio in an INI file. But a Linux gaming PC, it requires all of that crap and then another mountain of crap on top of it. Like, when something doesn't work, you can tell yourself, you know, well, I never wanted to use that functionality, or I never wanted to play that game anyway. But honestly, it just comes across as sour grapes. It is not that easy to use. The good news, though, is that a shocking number of experiences don't start and end with, sorry, you can't do this. So stay tuned for part 3, where Luke and I are going to be trying to get as many games up and running as possible, starting with Twitch's top 20 and then expanding into some of our personal favorites. It's going to be a really good one. Just like this message from our sponsor. Thanks to Pulseway for sponsoring today's video. Pulseway is an all-in-one platform management tool that can help protect your business from things like phishing and ransomware. How? Pulseway's got features like automated patching, central user and system management, disaster recovery backup, and stolen credential monitoring. So protect your business today and try Pulseway for free at the link in the video description. It's sponsors like that that are going to put him through college.
All right, so now let's go check part 3.
Yeah, part 3 is my favorite.
Let's copy this link. I have to put it up here.
Yeah.
Anything is easy.
All right, and we'll pause it because I mean we can't start playing. Jeff, if you need to grab coffee or anything, go for it, dude.
I need to drag water before I drag myself somewhere else.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I do. It's who. I remember also, it wasn't just for enthusiasts. It was also an escape because I remember growing up and Windows was like something that was unreachable for my family, or we couldn't even afford it. Everyone else was like, you know, we wouldn't even have computers in the house. You know, my friend did the same thing, and he told me, man, you could run this on old hardware. If you get something old or you do something, you can still use it as a computer. And to be honest with you, I was really young at that age when I first learned Linux. And at the time, I don't think I
You're cutting out pretty bad.
spent the time fiddling around with the terminal at all. I didn't know how to use it, but I did use a desktop.
Mm.
And for twinkers, or not twinkers. Where you go? It was for enthusiasts or something, but maybe now it's for like someone like a technology.
Wait,
enthusiast.
Linus is right. Whether you like it or not, Linux Desktop is for enthusiasts, geeks, and hobbyists. Sorry, but you know I'm right. I'm sorry, but you're not. My grandmother uses it and my mother use it.
Mine too.
It's not that it's not for everyone. It's just if you don't know anything about it and you're on your own and you're not interested in learning a damn thing about how a computer operates, you just want when you click a button it to open. Stick with Windows. But if you've got someone in your house who can help you install Linux and I mean most people it's never a problem. But
My mom is now learning how to use her Linux system, and it looks exactly like Windows, and she's like, I can't tell any different.
And like I said in the chat, even on Manjaro XFCE, I didn't have to use terminal until I installed Proton GE, and there's good documentation in it where he tells you how to get out of dependency hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you could install all those packages using the GUI, but why would you when there they are right there just to copy and paste if you understand the command. Now you wouldn't want to do that not understanding what that command is,
or not knowing anything about who Glorious Eggroll is, because if you look into him, you can kind of tell he's a pretty trustworthy guy, and he's kind of insane. Like the amount of effort he puts in is insane. And I just kind of have to do this just for TFL.
But everything else I just did in the GUI on Manjaro, because it's like I was used to Ubuntu. I didn't know Pac-Man. It's like, so I just used a GUI, and I still haven't had to learn it because the GUI's good enough, even on Arch-based Manjaro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do have to do this for TFL because he went all caps. You're welcome.
Uh-oh.
You're welcome.
And people do have hard times. Like, I remember there was times when I was on Windows that I had to work my way around installing some stuff, do something. I was like, oh goodness, why couldn't they just be plain click on this thing?
All right, let's do some stretching. All right, everybody, I hope you're ready to dive into the third episode. Catch up on the full. I can't believe we're actually going to end up. I mean, we've ended up watching most of the videos, if not.
The second one was bland.
Yeah, the third one's definitely the best. And they also do a very good job of talking about Linux.
Yeah, exactly.
Properly, So I'm going to go ahead and press play here. We're going to start, and while it's playing, I'm going to go grab a micro USB charger from right over there. I'll be right back, but let's get started.
If you know exactly what you're doing. But by the same token, anything can be difficult or even impossible if you lack the requisite skills, resources, or knowledge.
That's the basic premise of this video, where Linus and I, now 3 weeks into daily driving some form of Linux on our personal gaming machines, will change the gears and attempt to complete 12 simple tasks.
Simple as long as we've actually been doing our homework to familiarize ourselves with our Linux desktop environments.
Your Linux desktop.
Here we go. Thanks to NZXT for sponsoring today's video. NZXT wants to make building a kind. We've set a time limit for each of our tasks of 15 minutes.
Compared to gaming, basic office work is much more mature on Linux, and for anything that's not straightforward, there's a good chance that you can find a web app to fill the gap. These days, everything from word processing to basic video editing or even creating 3D mockups can all be done in a browser, and often for free.
In preparation for this part of the challenge, I practiced using Play on Linux by installing Notepad++, and I hope that if I really need some other Windows application, that's going to come in handy for me. If it doesn't, I also have a working Windows 10 virtual machine that I set up using KVM. But Luke and I agreed ahead of time that using a VM that's running paid, non-open source software kind of violates the spirit of the challenge here, even if it is technically within bounds. So there's going to be a half-point deduction for using that workaround.
I didn't install a VM or do any other form of special prep, but because I'm...
Yeah, so hold on. So I do want to just go ahead and talk about something here because TFL is talking about this and it matches up perfectly with what's going on in the video right now. Just in case anyone's not reading chat, he said, I do appreciate why you feel that Linux is just for the nerds. Though when when almost everywhere you look, there are nerds using Linux, it's no wonder. You're very right, man. Like there is a, like, look, Linux is definitely oriented towards the crowd who are more technically minded or knowledgeable. The fact that we're in this video here, we're talking about VMs. Let's be completely real. Most people out there don't even know really what a virtual machine is. They've heard the words. They have no idea what they mean. They have an idea of what it means. It means that you can kind of use a different thing on another thing. That's it. Like they don't have any real clue about what it is. You're very true. However, just because it's oriented towards someone else doesn't mean that it can't be good for someone else, for someone who's not knowledgeable. The thing is you do have to understand that, look, it is rough around the edges. It doesn't have the money and support that mainline, Windows does. Everybody's trying to, suck on Microsoft, okay? It's just the way our sad world works.
I'm work from home days. I've been doing a lot of everyday stuff on my machine already, and I'm expecting this to be pretty straightforward.
Here are the challenges you must surmount in whatever order you please. Cut and paste a file from OneDrive.
Yes,
Oh,
how to paste a file.
man, I was expecting them to come up with some stuff that's really challenging. So just like in Windows, Control X, and I will paste it to my Kingston thumb drive. It is done. 3.9 gigs, playing it back.
Gigs!
Yes, I do appreciate the irony of
I just said
trying
gigs
to
over
play
here.
success.mkv and having it just be a black screen.
I'm going to cut this, and I'm gonna paste this. Done. Okay. Step 1 complete.
I mean, I really didn't consider that this might take me longer than like a couple of seconds. Just like it doesn't take longer than a couple of seconds to go to lttstore.com, check out.
Damn, I should have skipped over
This
this.
is really annoying. macOS does this too. There's
Check out
a flash button.
But speaking of which, you should also check out the description below because I've got a merch link down there.
I know what
So
the philosophy is. The philosophy is you're not supposed to need to refresh. Well, sometimes I do. So you need to have the button.
all right,
Sorry,
Linus.
it's just I'm still angry about this from like 7 or 8 years ago or whenever I did my macOS daily driver challenge. VLC is not even open
Yeah,
anymore.
PTSD from the Mac
Now
driver
I'm kind of
challenge.
afraid to touch anything. Nautilus reports a completely different stuff. Okay. The file is here. And for some reason, VLC launches now. Did it just take that long to cancel the move operation? It did. I am grabbing a smaller file.
Yeah, you better.
Trying to install.
All right, fine, TFL. Okay, guys, so look, down in the description, what you'll find is a link to the merch store, okay? Look, I'll even demonstrate how you can get there because it is not complex, even though the world would like... I can't pause the video. Okay. It's not pause. Okay, so even though the world would have you believe that it's very complicated, it's not. So you go down here at this link that says My Merch, you click that. It takes you here to this beautiful website. And here, what you will find is this beautiful banner. And then down here, some fantastic merch, such as this merch right here. Okay? You can get yourself a Zany and Buddy mug. And on the back of them, they do include some fantastic memes made by people here in the community. Dylan used AI to upscale this and make it look real nice. Well, as real nice as a low resolution image of my face with my mouth open. can be. And no, I did not buy my own mug with my face on it for myself. I'm not that egotistical. My mom thought it was a real sweet thing to do. And I do have to say it is very sweet, but it is very odd to drink coffee out of a mug with my face on it. That's just a thing. But yeah, so go over there, check out the link. You can find these great Arco hoodies and t-shirts and the Linux Cast merch. By the way, all of the merch proceeds from the Linux Cast go to Matt, where he can avoid taxes like a skeezy little dude, you know. But he's smart. I give him that. And so, yeah. And we also, I really do think the Arco t-shirts are dope. So if you order one, please do send me a picture of it, you know? Like, I very much want to see people who have them, because I think that design's pretty cool. But okay, enough very unshameless promotion. Let's see. I used to. Oh yeah, that's true. Jeff. Whoops, replied to the wrong person. Yeah, you're right. It should be in the shot already. So like, where should I put it? Just put it like up here. But the problem with that is I still don't think it's in the shot. Oh, it's not. Wait, hold on. I can fix this. This goes down. This goes here. Oh, there you go. There.
Yeah.
It's right back there. Wait, I could just switch over to my face cam and see how it looks there. Yeah, I mean, in the face cam, the full thing, it's easy to see. There you go. Buddy uses Linux. Yes, he does. Actually, we're all living in a simulation, so we're actually all running the GNU core utils. It's actually hard-coded into your DNA. This is not fact, but that's only because the NASA is covering it up. Not NASA, the NASA. Different. Two totally different things. Yeah, it's crazy out there, man. But okay, so let's get back to the. We went off on a wild tangent there, but yeah, okay.
Install TeamViewer.txt.
Back to LTT.
Cutting, and I'm pasting it. Success. Challenge 2: digitally sign this PDF. I have not specifically installed any kind of PDF reader, so this is the default digitally sign. Oh, this is looking promising. Oh, draw a rectangle to indicate the signature field. Okay. The signature this size is too small to read. No, I'm just gonna sign it. There are no available signing certificates. Okay. Man, I thought I was gonna be done this in like 1 minute. How to sign.
I'm assuming I'm not going to be able to sign it because I'm assuming this is just a reader.
Bingo.
Is there something on here? Document viewer. I know what I use on Windows for this is Sejda. Okay, Sejda. I'm gonna download Sejda just in case this PDF mod thing doesn't work. Okay, this is what I use on Windows. So let's give this a shot. Sign.
Right.
Signature.
I'm going to give Linus the points on this one because at least he tried to do it right. If it's like a legal
Save.
document that has to be properly digitally signed.
That worked. Let's get
yeah.
here. I don't need PDF mod. PDF to sign. Sign.
I mean, the challenge though, the challenge wasn't really clear if it just had to be
certificate.
how intense the signature needed to be. I'll put it that way.
Oh, or we can use the MK cert tool. Come on. Yes, I know, Andy.
I said it horribly, but thank you, TTL.
Blah, 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 blah. What commands?
TFL.
All right. It's clear that this is a thing that you can do, and it's something that I could figure out if I had another half an hour,
I mean, I guess
an hour,
Linux was,
but unfortunately,
Linux was good,
it's
but,
not
like,
something that
there's so many
is
times I've signed,
quick
like,
or easy.
trust me.
I
There's
guess
so
I got
many legal
0
documents,
points.
especially
I
when I
should have bailed a
like,
couple
there's
minutes
buying
ago and
homes,
switched
all
over
that
to
stuff.
VM.
Trust me, they
I
don't care.
challenge number 2.
They do not care.
Export a chart
I've
from
sold vehicles through car
VXL.
dealerships, and I've
Right
gotten
click,
people.
save as picture.
Okay, and you go send them the
Excel
document. As long as you have,
This
they,
has got to be the
they say
chart
they
we're trying
signed
to
it and stuff.
right
They
click,
take so much
export
on the
as
word.
image. Did that work?
No,
I've never done
exactly.
this before. I wasn't even fully aware that was a thing. Looks like it worked. It has a transparent background, but doesn't matter.
I remember I
think.
sold a vehicle to a
this
woman in
black
Texas, and
background
she
is
wasn't even
not-
in front of me the whole time. And I was in North Carolina. She was in Texas.
Don't call yourself a command line god until you've rubbed one out on an ASCII video. Oh my god.
The color of the cells, the black background is just
Excuse me,
an
sorry.
image. Oh, yes. Here we go. Okay. You just have to find exactly the right spot. Export as image. Hey! Why is the name system volume information? Why did it default to system volume information? Okay. Yes, okay, I needed a W here and I got it. It's not quite right. You can see it's actually missing the borders on the right and bottom, but everything else here looks fine. Calling that a W.
Add a new font. I'm assuming this is just dragging it into the fonts folder.
I'll allow it.
We'll just do this. Nope. I thought it was going to be as easy as just dragging it into this folder, to be honest. How do you install a font? Mint. Or user share fonts true type. There we go. I'm gonna put a font in here. Permission denied. Okay, so open as root. Done. Now if I load this again. I don't see it.
I'm just gonna copy it to my downloads folder. What just happened? Did that just copy to the folder? Why would it do that? I dragged this onto a folder, but because Arc is some completely separate application that doesn't integrate properly with Dolphin, it just dumps it into the folder instead of specifically on the folder I'm dragging it to. So I have to open this folder, then copy it.
Can't you just double
I
click
can
on the font
open Night Zone
and install
with,
it?
sorry, what is this?
System-wide
K-Font
or something,
View?
or
Oh,
whatever.
install.
Yeah, there
Do
you
you
go.
want to install the fonts for personal use system-wide? System-wide. Yes! I'm gonna change my user interface to it. Ha! All right.
I did not think this one was going to be difficult. I don't know how much time I have, actually. I wasn't even paying attention.
How much time I have? He's 3
minutes.
minutes in.
So it can just go directly into fonts. So it could go directly into there. I don't know. I'm just going to put things everywhere. Is it actually called a font? Is it called Night Zone?
He goes, is it called
Have I been done this whole time? Okay, I got it right. I just didn't realize it was called Night Zone. Thanks, James.
Or was he looking for a font
Okay.
instead
Yeah,
of
he's
Night
looking
Zone?
for a font.
Print the Word doc. Okay, here's my Word document. File. Print.
Good God, man. So,
Yeah, theoretically. I haven't done any
Linus
setup
deserves to
for a
finally be
printer,
successful at
but
something.
this looks like
Yeah.
a
I'm just
printer.
gonna put
So,
things everywhere his girlfriend
Let's
approves.
do it. Okay, a Word document is printing. I'll be back. That's in my girlfriend's office. We'll see what's gonna happen. That was probably the easiest and best printing experience
Me,
I've
researched this.
pretty much ever had. I didn't detect that printer. I didn't install that printer. I didn't do anything. I know from previously using Mint, I've seen the pop-up in the top right-hand corner come up being like, this printer has connected. But I never did anything for it, and yeah.
Printers. Okay, hold on. Whoa, what was that? Printer HP Device Manager. What is this? Do I even have an HP printer? It's a Samsung. That's gonna be. Whoa. Are you kidding me? There it is. Samsung
Yeah, I was
CLP310
impressed
series.
also with the printing. Yeah, Bill.
Wait, it found a driver! This printer is actually a pain in the ass to get working on Windows because I think the last time it got a driver was either Vista or Windows 7. I actually have it saved.
If you're going to talk, you know you can pause the video, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have control over it too. Like, we can all pause and play it.
Scans are always easy on GNOME, though. They had that scan utility tool, and I could just click it, and it was so easy to scan my documents with GNOME.
Linux is really good for printing. It's just, like, if your printer is not supported, then it's a bitch. But most, like nowadays, most printers are supported on Linux. And pretty damn well, too.
To a folder on my server because there's no other place that I can find it, or I can, but it's a real chore. You have to like extract it from some other thing. Like it's a very giant pain in the butt. This just worked as far as I can tell, but until I actually to believe it.
That's right, Scott.
Connecting the printer, waiting for printer. Let's go, Andy. Let's go, Andy. The light's flashing. It's flashing. Come on, CLP. Yeah!
Nice.
I was gonna say I've never been so happy to see a page printed out of a printer, but actually getting something to print is one of those things that pretty much every time you need to do it, it's like kind of urgent and kind of a pain in the ass. So no, I've been through this a lot.
Success.
Challenge number 6, compress and send all the files on this drive. Okay, compress here as .zip. Why is it .zip.uqjqfu? Well, that brings up nothing. Why would it put that there? Goodbye. Failed to open archive, not a zip archive. It's a UQJQFU. Nope, it just is broken. Perfect.
We're going to compress to a zip right here, create. Let's check top. Gonna make sure things are happening. 7-zip is attempting to use 100% of my CPU. So things are happening.
Holy crap, Andy, you know what? I think I just fell for the same thing that I said I wouldn't fall for again. Compress here as .zip. It was doing it down here, and I didn't notice. So I guess the 6 characters or whatever here is just random gibberish while it's a temporary file. I
Right.
should change this font back.
Comic Sans.
I like it, let's do it. Ooh, PSCU comic? There we go. Are these files gonna compress at some point? Dolphin, you're embarrassing yourself. Okay, let's try and do it in, I forget what this one is called, it doesn't matter. Archive name, at least it prompts me for what I wanna call it. I don't see any kind of progress indicator. Are you kidding me? Am I gonna fail to zip a file?
Uploading. I was kind of hoping that I was going to be able to do every single task in under 15 minutes. The fonts task really slowed me down because I didn't realize the font wasn't called a font. And then this one is slowing me down because it just took a long time to compress and now it's taking a long time to upload.
Yep.
But other than that, these have all been very easy so far.
And this one is clearly stalled. Hold on, maybe pzip's got me still. Hold on. So this is all the stuff. Okay, copy. Then I can go into downloads. Zip folder. Yes, this is the workaround. Oh my God. 10 minutes remaining to copy these files. This is another thing that I definitely can do. It just had some.
They were jinxed from the get. That game was rigged from the get-go on that one because they had that giant
the first one I
file
did
to
in
compress.
Dolphin, it's done, I think.
Nice.
Wait, no, I didn't get the point. I'm supposed to send them. Maybe I can weasel my way out of this a little.
Yellow.
What do you mean by compress and send?
Up and email it or something?
Well, I mean, there's a 3 gigabyte file in it, so emailing it's not
Rico,
really.
this guy, man.
Oh, well, I mean, I already zipped the whole thing, including the video. Because, like, okay, I'm giving myself the points. I could have emailed this to someone. I think that's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, well, I can do other tasks while I'm waiting. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so take a screenshot. I can do whole screen. I can do current window. I can do area to grab.
As he always does.
Area to grab, and I'm gonna screenshot this. Bang. It just shows up right here. I'm gonna throw it in the Linux challenge folder, and there it is. There's a screenshot. I'm gonna wait for make a shortcut. I didn't read this line before I started this. I don't have a network share. Set up Discord app to open on startup. There's probably, yeah, startup applications. Add one, choose application. Discord. Add application. Done. Discord's on startup now. Watch 4K content. I'm assuming that's this, the video.
Google unveiled the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro today,
Nice.
but we already knew everything about it because
Did we?
they had everything.
Okay, well, I guess I did that. This is done. That just got finished. Insert files using Drive. Linux challenge. Okay. One person view, send. Got it.
This is really cool. If I search for snipping tool, it actually is like, haha, we don't have that. But we do have Spectacle, which is a pretty cool little screenshotting tool.
This is funny because all I've ever done is hit the print screen key, and there's been a screenshot utility built into any
Press
distro
enter.
I've tried. That just print screen has worked.
Yep. I mean, almost
Now I have to
every
make a
single D
shortcut.
has a
Oh,
shortcut.
man,
Yep.
I got this too. Oh, no, you can't right click it to where you want it and make a shortcut. So no, I will find another way to do that. Link to file or directory. Yes, this
I
is a
cannot
much better
believe
way
I
of
just
doing this.
ate.
Haha.
Like,
Name for new
I had
link.
2 Krispy Kreme donuts.
Okay,
like
can I
an
copy the
hour and a half
location?
ago. Banana.
Yes, I can. Haha. Done.
I've like never made shortcuts. I don't make shortcuts in Windows either. I can hold the shift and control keys, highlighting and dragging a file or folder. Okay, seems a little weird, but let's make a shortcut of a video. That looks like it's a shortcut. Yeah, it's a link, it's a shortcut. Nice.
Connect to a network share. This is actually crazy easy because while I am using Samba on my Linux NAS, it's a Linux NAS. So yeah, so network, shared folders SMB, Ladder server. Oh, does it want me to like map a network share? I mean, that's not really necessary. I can just add a shortcut to this right here. See? I'm gonna call that good enough. So now, every time I open up Dolphin, I just click Linus, and it will go to my share. Just like that.
I have received confirmation from James. I don't have any network attached storage devices at my home right now. So he said it is okay if I set up a folder for sharing. I'm gonna go into property, sharing options. Let's try that. Samba needs to be installed, appropriate firewall. Let's do this. This is the first one where I haven't done anything with this at all yet. I've used Samba, but it was 10 years ago. Share this folder is on. Allow others to create and delete files in this folder, and let's do.
I mean, I do like the fact that like Luke is just like blowing through his stuff, like
Yep.
just like an absolute monster.
Guest access. Well, add the permissions automatically. Cool. It is now a network share. You can see little thingamajig there. I think that's it. So in the end, that took me less than 40 minutes in total. The majority of that time was waiting for a file to compress, waiting for a file to upload, waiting for a response from the taskmaster himself, etc. Not doing the actual tasks. I think that would have taken me a very similar amount of time in Windows. Actually, the print a file portion probably went better than it would have on Windows, to be completely honest. So yeah, overall, no problem. Really easy.
Compressing in files failed, copying failed. Yeah, thanks a lot, Dolphin. You suck. Set up a Discord app to open on startup. I think it might just do that by default. The first thing I'm gonna do then is just test that. I'm feeling good, Andy. I got this. Hey, okay. Apparently I had already configured this, so another point for Linus. Watch 4K content.
Right.
Video.mp4. Where'd it go? Hello? Wait, it goes black and full screen?
That's a nice feature.
Why? I grabbed MPV Media Player, the official repository community version, because that seemed like the most credible one. And then I was able to immediately open the video in MPV Player and boom, full screen. Solved. Look at that gorgeous guy. Challenge number 12, watch HDR content. As far as I can tell, this is basically just James rubbing in that I have not been able to consume any HDR content this month. Here's an article from a month ago. Red Hat has announced it wants to hire an engineer. Well, that's a fail, but everyone's gonna fail. So I feel pretty good. Other than digitally signing my PDF, I managed to complete all of my possible challenges. But that doesn't mean that the road to get here was as painless as what you just saw.
I've had a very frustrating issue where any amount of Windows movement, especially if I dare to have an even low performance game like FTL running, will be very laggy. I've had a few fixes suggested to me that maybe helped a little bit, I can't really tell. None of them have fully solved the problem. I could distro hop and try something else, but I'm hesitant to do that even if it would solve the problem, as that means a lot of additional work just to get caught up to where I am now, and it's possible other things will break anyways.
Meanwhile, on Manjaro KDE, I've had a relatively smooth experience. I do have little complaints, like that the Show Desktop button doesn't actually minimize anything, and as soon as you grab a focus application, everything comes ripping back onto the screen, or that the application labels are underneath the window previews when you cycle through with Alt-Tap, making them harder to read. But overall, if all I needed to do was run a web browser, do some basic word processing, I wouldn't have anything to complain about. Installing and managing applications, on the other hand, has made me wish that my Pop! OS experience hadn't been so discouraging. Manjaro has a graphical package manager called PAMAC that allows applications to be installed in a couple of clicks. But by default, it contains only some of the things I need. It can be unlocked to search for Flatpak, Snap, and AUR packages, which dramatically increases its usefulness. But if this Manjaro developer is to be believed, these non-official sources can result in downtime, and if they do, everything is working as intended. Fortunately, I haven't really encountered that yet, though I have only been at it for a few weeks, but it's this kind of hit or miss functionality that has turned using my computer from something that I do for fun into something that feels more like work.
Hold on. I want to address something that Albatross is saying. How does Windows manage to do it just fine? He's talking about having a stable system with up-to-date packages, while on Linux you either get outdated application or unstable system. That doesn't make sense. On Windows you still have beta applications. You still have the differentiating branches. You have the stable release of OBS or whatever on Windows, and then you have a dev branch or alpha branch or whatever they call it. Like, it's the same thing. I mean, Windows is really no different than Ubuntu, you know? It's just like the only difference is that everyone is super familiar with the fact that, you know, there's because I mean there are development, you can get daily builds of Windows. You can do that. You can have a rolling release Windows. no one does that. No one even knows that's a freaking, no one gets daily builds from Microsoft. No one does that, but you can. Like, it's just not known. You know. So, different strokes for different folks. Truth. Of course, Scott's in here. I love Dolphin. Dolphin's fantastic. All right, let's continue on.
Okay, here's miraculously, the browser skin that I needed for OBS was available in PAMAC through the Arch user repository. But the thing is, I ended up only stumbling upon that by finding a post referring to it as I was fighting my way through attempting to manually copy the plugin files into the appropriate system folders, which, in fairness to me, was based on a guide I found and actually got me really close. I was able to launch OBS, but as soon as I tried to actually use that source, it would crash. Now I understand that this is totally a power user thing to do, but it's also absolutely something that a gamer, particularly a game streamer, might need.
I wasn't able to install the browser source plugin as easily as Linus was. I did figure out how to get it to work eventually, but in the hardest way possible, because using my Windows brain, I installed OBS by following the commands on their website rather than using my distro's package manager. If I had actually started with that, the main OBS install would have just included the browser source plugin to begin with. In my opinion, it's an unintuitive user experience to not include the browser source plugin by default for all the main ways of acquiring OBS. People have been using this thing for years. It's in there by default on Windows. It is buried.
I agree with that. It should be in there.
So true. So true.
It should be in there by default on all releases.
That is so true. And now, again, people say, well, that's a fault on a developer. Bruh. Who the fuck cares? It's a problem. It needs to be fixed. If you're in the Linux space and you use OBS, reach out. Be like, hey, can y'all address this just on the website? Like, like we need to be able to package it with the proper browser plugin. Like,
right.
The fact that a build of OBS exists without the browser plugin is kind of stupid. Like,
yep.
Just put it in there. Like, duh. I don't use it, but I would still prefer that it's there because the time that I do want to use it, it will be there. Like, just put it in. And it's also like, I know people will be like, oh, it's bloat. It's bloat. Just, dude, it's OBS. Get out. If you're screaming bloat because of a browser plugin, come on. Most people use it. You didn't address my point, though. I'm using Windows 11, and if I download anything from the Windows Store website, Winget, and I get the latest version of applications, no, you don't. No, you don't. That's my point exactly. No, you don't. You're not getting the latest version. Because even on Arch, most Arch packages aren't even the latest version of the package.
So your Discord is Discord Canary.
Yeah. Like, yeah, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. So, yes, I'm pretty sure I did address your point. Like, yes. Now, your point of the fact that, like, you get an unstable system if you go rolling release, like, yeah, that's kind of true. It shouldn't.
It's more possible. It's not usually. It usually isn't. It usually stays stable.
Yeah.
But it's more possible something could break.
Yeah.
Because of a bug in newer and untested hardware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Latest stable version, unlike what you get by default from apt. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about Debian. Like, Debian likes to keep their packages super out of date. Because, again, Debian shoots for like they're shooting for a level of stable that no one really else is shooting for. Like,
hence the nickname Debian Stale.
Yeah. Like, they want, like, they're looking for like an unprecedented level of stability. Like, if you're running a computer from 22 years ago, like, if a game that you played back then ran on it then, it should run today. Like, that's Debian's logic. Like, we don't do shit that makes shit stop working. Like, they like to hang back. And see, the thing is like in Linux, the way it differs from Windows is, again, like, you have choices, and the reason you have so many choices is also because there's so much hardware out there, and like what's best for your hardware depends. On Windows, you just get this blanket experience. So, like, I mean, you got to think about it. Like, Windows 11 will work on my Dell G5 here, and also on my Gigabyte bricks. However, the experience will be terrible on the bricks. I mean, it's not even... I should have said Windows 10, because Windows 11 is technically not supported on it. But Windows 10 works great on this laptop. On that bricks, it's going to be terrible. Linux will work on both of them perfect. Like, it's the amount of options it allows you to tailor your experience for your unique hardware set as well. Which there's something to be said for that.
Under the build instructions tab, but come on.
Honestly, some of my dumbest problems have been caused by my default file manager, Dolphin. Among other things, it does not allow the user to copy.
Let's just take a brief second. You know, just take a knee. Hold on. Just let me do this. Let me just get down here, and let's all just take a knee for my brother Scott. You know, he's just real hurt and offended right now. I know it. He's like, fuck you, Linus. Dolphin's awesome. I know it.
Thunar for the win.
Nah, man. Nautilus is pretty great. It's pretty great. We all know it.
I used to like Nemo.
Oh, if Matt was still in the chat, he would be so upset. Matt is not a big fan of Nemo. Not at all.
Anything in a folder that requires administrative privileges, with no obvious way to override it in the GUI. And I've run into this twice so far. Adding insult to injury, the community responses to this user who shared my concern that not everyone wants to copy files using the terminal, and that Linux should allow the user to do what they want to do with their computer, were some of the most painfully condescending and stubborn things that I've had the displeasure of reading throughout this challenge. Now, I lost my link to the tweet, unfortunately, but I saw an interesting criticism of this series that basically accused me and Luke of intentionally smearing Linux and its developers because we were going to come into this with a basic Windows gamer perspective and try to do things the way that they do things. Well, newsflash, guys, that's most people. And if you legitimately, like in your heart of hearts, want Linux desktop to grow, you need to accommodate those people. So you can sit there and go, am I out of touch? No, it's the users who are wrong. But you're literally a meme at that point. The only question is whether you're self-aware or not.
Well, that depends. I strongly believe that enthusiast distros for advanced users should stay advanced. There is immense raw potential in an unfettered experience. It is important for new users wishing to eventually achieve mastery of.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause here because I feel like a lot of people think like I'm a LTT apologist here. Look, I know this is scripted. I feel like this is like pandering right now. Like, I feel like they're just trying to be like, well, look, we're not completely shitting on you. Like, Linux distros should stay. Like, look, yeah, we know enthusiast distros are a thing and they should still exist. Like, that's never going to change. But thanks for letting us know that you agree with us on that.
A system, and for
not to be rude, Luke, if you ever watch this somehow, which I highly doubt it.
Well,
but,
I got to agree with Linus is that there should be a way to give Dolphin root access. All the other file browsers, you can do it.
Well, I mean, you have to be accommodating to people. Like you have to be. I mean, if getting Linux out there to more people is what you want, then you have to be accommodating. Like, to me, the whole idea of like, look, I really want you to use Linux, and then someone going like, well, I don't like it, and then telling them, well, you have to learn to like it. That's kind of like that's like me telling you like, hey man, like, eat this pepper jack cheese, and you're like, dude, no, I fucking hate that. And I'm like, well, how about this? I'm gonna shove it in your mouth, and you're gonna like it eventually. Eventually, the taste, you'll learn to love it. I mean, you might hate me and kill me in my sleep one night, but you'll learn to like pepper jack cheese. It's kind of insane. No.
No, you can't sudo Dolphin. It doesn't work. Dolphin does not let you do that. It's a valid complaint. You can sudo Thunar, you can sudo Nemo, you can sudo not Dolphin.
I like that though. Like when I open up Dolphin, I modify or I open up
files. Hold on, Scott.
I can modify them and then save them, and then it prompts me for my password. I like that though, so it makes it to where no user can really go on there and modify or edit root unless it's you.
But you can't do it either. You can't go in through your file manager, click on a file, and open it as root.
Yeah, I can't. Well, no, you can't do that. But I can work on it and Kate save it, and then it just prompts me for my password to modify it because you need root privileges, and then you just put in your password, and it just saves regularly.
Well, but that's you're not even addressing the problem. You're just saying, well, I don't do it that way. Like that's kind of being like, well,
it's the same thing as sudo. It's like the same thing as sudo. Let's say sudo Kate file or sudo this.
That's
like
what we're saying. You can't do that with your file manager. You should be able to. You can't sudo Dolphin.
Well, besides you can't sudo Dolphin. Every time that I click a file on the root thing and change it, it just asks you for a password. It's the same thing it does when you sudo Dolphin.
But it does. We just watched a video, and it doesn't work that way.
Unless they changed it.
Yeah, I mean, unless they've changed it since this video, and that's why you don't know. You're like, yeah, it just works. You should never sudo any GUI. That's no, because at that point, how does your software center work? You know, like how does the download how does the progress bar for your for your software center work? You know,
no,
I mean,
okay.
You have to be able to sudo a GUI. It's just not every GUI should be sudo. That's for damn sure. I mean, obviously, you should not be running everything as root.
No.
But it makes sense for your file manager to be able to open something as root.
Like when I go into root, I go into bin. If I want to open up like this, or let's say, let me go back.
Like, dude, just go to your Etsy folder and like open up one of your configuration files, like for Pulse or Pipewire.
Also, I'll open up in Kate. If I change it, I'll add like one more line, and I'll save. It just prompts me for my password. That's it, and it modifies it, and I don't have to.
Well, yeah, but that's Kate. That's not your file manager. Try copying something from your home folder into somewhere into root.
Oh yeah, well that's a better example. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, you're not opening that file as root. You're just
he's not opening that file with Dolphin. He's opening that file with Kate.
But that's my point. When he's opening that file in Kate, he's still not opening it as root. Kate just has the ability to get privilege escalation.
It pasted just fine in my home directory from
your home. Now paste it into your root directory is what I'm saying. Yeah, you can paste it in your home directory.
Yeah.
But if you try to paste somewhere in root, you won't have permission because and you can't give Dolphin permission to do that.
I see.
Yep.
Yo.
Yep. Yo.
Yo.
Oh, TFL.
Yes, I had to just quickly join to say, okay, well, it's kind of already been covered in chat, really. But Scott, right click the background. I just kind of like quickly loaded up Discord, so kind of everything's in disarray. But Scott, if you open up, yeah, you've got the file manager open. So right click the background area. Yeah, like there should be some kind of open as root the options somewhere.
Not on Dolphin.
Nope. That's the
Actions,
whole thing that
maybe
we're
it's in
saying.
Actions. I can barely even see that screen text. Open terminal, no. Just right now you're right clicking a directory, so click the background again. Actions, maybe? Still not? What the hell? I could have sworn I saw them do that in thingy. I guess not. I must have just been seeing things. Well,
it's yeah. Like I mean, that's the thing.
That's
like
frustrating. I could have sworn it. I feel like I need to watch that video now again just to be sure.
See, and this is what I remember as a Kate. Like, I mean, in my experience with KDE Neon is the same. Like, I couldn't do anything as like go into root like and do anything through Dolphin. Like, and
that's weird. Okay, I agree that is a Dolphin issue because a lot of other file managers, as you guys have said, do let you do that.
But
okay, I'm going to go
again,
to listening to you guys now.
Oh, you're good. You're good. And
And the
please pop in
KDE
anytime.
developers don't think it's a problem. They do it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, and see, here's
There's
the
like
thing.
their solution is if you want to mess with root, you're a power user, use a terminal.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing about
So
KDE.
Linus is kind of right.
Yeah. Well,
in that particular case.
Yeah. Like his argument's valid, and I think again the funniest thing about this is, like, he picked the one DE that is too Windows like. It's too funny. Like, there's almost any other DE that he could have picked that he would have had a much better time in, because they're either like much more simplistic, where you can't just like, go in and configure too much and destroy his system. And then there's also the DEs that just like Linux Mint, where it's just, I mean, there's nothing special, but it's gonna work.
Please see my talk at this year's QTCon on why it has special section about things which can happen when starting Dolphin as root. It allows instant user to root escalation for any program you are running.
I mean, again, I'm sure they have some good excuse or reason for not doing it, but that's still being said, for the user experience, it's terrible, because a user probably needs to do something to root eventually at some point, especially if you're going to be doing stuff like I mean, people want to say like, immutable like file systems are the future and stuff. Like, look, they're really cool and everything, but they're not very practical for a lot of, like, when your software isn't configured properly, or you have to configure your software in a certain way, and the software is not meant for a immutable file system, that shit falls apart. And you'll have to, man. Like, I mess with the Pulse Audio configs. Like, I do that. So, like, luckily I'm on Fedora right now, so I don't have to do any of that. But that being said, I don't have any echo cancellation here, because I can't load the Pulse Audio echo cancellation module, and I can't figure out how to use the Pipewire one because there's no Pipewire-Pulse here. I have no idea what's going on, but whatever. That's besides the point. Scott, any URL. I don't know why you're like, TFL. Like, here's the thing: if he has to go in and do all of this to be able to get it to work and let him run as root, it's kind of broken anyway. Like, I mean, if you have to go like deep into like admin configurations and like essentially change file browser options to be able to do it, you need to be able to do it. There's valid reasons in Linux for messing with root. I understand their stance. I understand it. I just don't agree with it.
Current masters of that system to be afforded full control and responsibility in order to maximize their ability to learn, grow, and realize potential. That being said, not everything fits under that umbrella. There are distros out there more for gamers or inexperienced users, so for those systems, we really hope that there's a lot of good that can come from us doing this. We also don't want to paint everyone in the Linux community with the same brush, because it's a diverse bunch of people with a wide range of experience with Linux. People like Wendell from Level 1 Techs, Jason Evangelo from Linux for Everyone, and Gardner Bryant from Gardner Bryant.
I am so upset that I wasn't put in here. Like, how does he not know about it? Like, what? Like, what is it? Like, or Matt? Like, where was Matt in it? TFL? Where was TFL? Where was DT?
Why wasn't my little nothing channel in there? What?
Like, I mean, yeah, Jeff. Like, Scott. Like, where was Arch Sinners? God, he missed so many names here. It hurts. It cuts so deep. Oh.
Have been inviting and supportive, not just to us, but to fans of the channel following in our footsteps, which is super cool. But
something that the good eggs in the Linux community need to understand, though, is that you guys are great, and there's lots of you. It's just that it only takes a couple of toxic gatekeepers to turn people off. Like, you gotta remember, it's not always easy for people to reach out and ask for help, and if a literal developer of their distro goes out of their way to type extra unnecessary words to be condescending when they could have just pointed the user to the resources that they needed, it is extremely damaging to the good work that the majority is trying to do. And there has been so much of that good work on display throughout this project. I mean, getting my Windows VM, which I've only ended up needing to ingest some audio using Rode's weird, unnecessary utility and to configure my audio interface, was kind of a nightmare. Between incomplete guides, meaningless error messages, accidentally installing a version of VirtualBox that was made for the wrong version of the Linux kernel, and needing to enable an additional BIOS option that it didn't tell me I needed, it took me literally hours. But I got there.
Tell me I needed.
It's worth noting that it can be a real hassle to set up a VM on Windows too, especially for an inexperienced user. And hey, at least on Linux, it's incredibly powerful and it's free. Now, there's a lot more that I could say right now, but I feel like most of it is better suited for the upcoming parts where we focus on game compatibility and performance and our overall conclusions. So I will see you there. Thanks to NZXT for sponsoring today's video. With NZXT Build, getting a custom-built PC is easier than ever. Just set your budget, see how your PC will perform in your favorite games, and Build takes care of the rest. Their recommendation engine provides benchmark data for the expected performance of your build at 1080.
And that
you fucking cat use. Stop it.
Of course, the cat's got to do something.
Of course.
So, I think Linus Tech Tips has done a fantastic job at exposing people to Linux.
I agree.
I think he's also done a fantastic job of highlighting a realistic scenario that you can have with using Linux. Good Lord. Discord did not like me resizing it one bit. Oh my God. Hold on. Quit two windows. Open it back up. Okay, so I'm still in the call. But I can't load up Discord. So let me... Nope. What am I doing? Kill all. Discord. And relaunch it. This has to work. It has to, okay? It has to. It has to. I mean, I hope. Oh, and by the way, yeah, position my microphone, like, right up here. Very odd spot. Oh, Discord's loading up. Awesome. That took a very long time. I'm telling you, Discord is the worst piece of software that's ever been developed. Oh, and now I'm logged out. I swear to God. This is just the worst. This is the absolute worst, man. Having to sign back in. Dismiss. Got it. Got it. Let's go down here. Okay, I'm back.
All right, he's back.
Literally, Discord's the worst. It just hates me. Really does. Very sad. I don't understand what I did to it, but it's all right. I'll make it up to it one day. Correct scene. Wait, you're on GNOME? Yes, I am on GNOME. Yes, I'm on if you haven't seen the latest video I've put out, I'm on Fedora. I'm on
Pop exclamation mark underscore OS.
I am on Fedora 35 workstation edition, running GNOME 41.4, and that's with Pipewire and Wayland. And I keep forgetting I have been misleading people on my hardware system specifications. I actually have a Ryzen 7 4800H, not a 4700H. I am very sorry for my misleading. Buddy, I believe you're there. I swear I do. You've been outside twice in the past 2 hours. I swear. What is going on? Just go to sleep. I mean, the thing is he doesn't want to go to sleep. I know what it is.
He's a little older, so he just sleeps.
He wants to go outside. I wish my dog likes sleeping. He wakes up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Age, but dude, Benji was that age. He still kind of is like that, but Benji, man, when he was that age, would want to do everything all the time. Oh. Yeah, right, Benji? You heard your name? Yeah? Yeah, you want to do stuff.
Let Buddy talk. Yeah, Buddy. Well, see, what he'll do is he'll start hopping up here. And the thing about it is like, I'm fine with him hopping up. And like, I mean, he's cute as hell. But the problem is like, he has some very sharp claws. And his dew claw always ends up fucking cutting the shit out of my arm when he hops up on me. That being said, I mean, as long as he's not hopping up and trying to like scrape at my arm to like go play, he's fine. But yeah. Well, it was really good talking about LTT and Linus. I think we had a really good talk. If there's any questions anyone has for any of us, throw them out before we head out. But I think we'll go ahead and wind down right now and get ready to head off. Time to hop to Exurbo.
Yeah,
it's not happening. Just not happening. But yeah, if you have any questions whatsoever, throw them out. And we'll answer questions and head off.
Thank you, TFL.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm very glad you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having everyone here. It was an absolutely fantastic stream. I'm pretty sure we got to see a few new faces, and it was a lot of fun. Had great conversation. Yes. I mean, exactly. The highlight was when you joined. Of course, you're special, TFL. You're special. All right. Never let anyone tell you otherwise.
What do you think about Fedora 35?
Fedora 35 has been an incredible experience. It is the only Linux distro that has worked fine on this laptop. It's quite frankly the only Linux distro, or actually it's the only OS in existence that I've been able to install on this laptop that games and streams the way that it should. Windows 11 shit the bed. But I'm sure Windows 10 will work perfectly fine because that's what it came with, and it worked fine when I got it. But
Windows 11 is so new, though. I would expect some bugs, them fixing some stuff over time.
But I mean, we could do a little demonstration of how well it works. Good. So.
Let's see this demo. I actually love the dash to dock. Is that dash to dock, or is that just GNOME 4 or whatever?
It's stock vanilla GNOME, but I did install dash to dock. That's the one extension I'm using. That's it. And I did install tweaks so I could change the icon theme, but I'm just using the Papyrus icon theme. I mean, it's so standard. It's not even funny.
TFL. I might install. Oh, dude, TFL. I'll do that with you, man. I'll do that with TFL. Install Manjaro KDE, and I'll do.
See, hold on. I'm gonna respond to Reed. See, here's the thing. You should try Dusk Window Manager on Arco. I can't. Arco won't work on this laptop.
What?
I don't think people understand when I say this. Almost every single distro in existence does not work on this laptop. I don't know what the special sauce is here on Fedora. I believe me when I say I don't know, but on almost every single distro, this laptop has severe issues.
Yeah, but TFL, when you first set it up, you could immediately install Discord, and we could do it together. And I can watch how you're tweaking KDE.
Dude, I'm sorry. No. I mean, don't apologize. It's rough because I mean, it sucks on this laptop. It's a good thing I have other laptops that I can play with other distros on. But yes, on this laptop, it's genuinely insane. People do not believe me when I tell them that I have tried fucking everything on this laptop and nothing works because it's so weird. It's an AMD APU and a laptop discrete card, and when it comes to switching between built-in graphics and discrete graphics on laptops, it's always Intel and NVIDIA. It's a very, very new thing that it's dual AMD in that setup. And oh boy, it causes issues everywhere. It don't matter if the kernel's up to date. Solus Budgie, it looked like it was going to fix a lot of issues. Didn't. Still problems. But a lot of the issues that I have on Linux stem from Discord issues, and it's Discord. Discord just sucks fucking ass everywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up into a private match here with some bots, and I'll show you guys. So now this is with all of the settings pumped up. Hold on. I'll go back to the main screen just so you can see what we're doing, because I've got VSync on. I've got it locked. So we're doing the video, all high quality, highest settings. We're doing the FPS at 144 frames per second. VSync is not enabled.
Oh my god, you're an animal.
Yep. So, or I think that's the, I can't remember if that's the target. I didn't pay attention. I think that's the FPS limit. I don't think that's the target FPS. So, as you can see, looks good. Looks good. It's playing just fine. Like I can actually play this. Oh no, I am just terrible. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta get, oh, that little douchebag.
I got the new at Zany. I got the new AMD Ryzen 5 5600X.
Here we go, boys. There we go. That's how it's done. There we go.
Uh-oh, TFL. Uh-oh.
Oh, that was not a good setup, man.
TFL.
Oh, alright. Yep. These guys. Come on, there you go, buddy. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, like, look, I'm glad that I got the goal, but also at the same time, my bot should have taken care of that. Whatever. So yeah, Rocket League works perfectly fine on the laptop. Like, Fedora is a fantastic experience. Like, it's legitimately working better than Windows. Like, working better than Windows, working better than every single Linux distro I've ever tried. Sounds good. I wouldn't mind trying Temple OS. Yeah, have fun. I got the new AMD Ryzen 5 5600X. And got a weird boot thing, but it works. I don't know what you mean by a weird boot thing. I got that weird boot thing. I don't know what that means.
You gotta try the Fedora KDE spin, TFL.
I'm hoping that this Christmas I end up getting a 5700G and a 6600 XT. That'd be pretty lit. Fedora has always been dog turd for me. Okay. I don't know why. Oh wait, you've got an NVIDIA card. I don't know, maybe Fedora's not good on NVIDIA. I doubt it, but I don't know. Oh, well, that's also true. They have been on Wayland for a long time. So, I mean, if you were trying out Fedora using Wayland, yeah, of course it was terrible. But I mean, when you log in, they do have like, I think they do still ship with XOR, so you can still like choose Fedora XOR.
I have an NVIDIA card, but it's legacy. I have like weird, hard for me to get stuff to work.
I didn't even think about it. People can't see. Discord. Yes, you can still select Plasma on X11. Okay. Not that I'm using Plasma, but yeah.
Dang, he said, dang, big ISO.
Yep. Well, I mean, you know, you're getting that big boy stuff. You're getting that big boy hardware support.
You're getting Dolphin. I
mean, you have to think about it like this. It has to be a big ISO because whatever they're doing, it's the one distribution in existence in Linux that supports this hardware perfectly. Like other distributions will make it work, like where it's usable, but it's nowhere near full hardware support. This is the only distribution that works fully on this laptop.
I think he's trying Manjaro KDE.
Oh. Well, then, in that case, that's different. Sorry for the error right before booting into SCDM or something. It shows no IRQ handle for 1 through 10 and then boots. I think that's normal. I feel like that's normal for like Ryzen chips. I feel like I've seen the IRQ handle, the IRQ handler on most of my Ryzen devices. I feel like that's normal.
Does it show no IRQ handler?
I have no idea. I just see it. I haven't paid attention to it. It still
He says
boots.
his is showing, it shows no IRQ handler.
I mean, see, here's the thing. Like, in booting, I feel like like with a verbose output, like you're gonna get error. Like, I mean, you're just gonna get shit like that.
And as long as it boots.
Exactly. Like it doesn't. I mean, it has no. But if it boots and shit works, who the fuck cares? I mean, I really don't care. I mean, what? As long as it's all good on the back end.
I could see that though. Like having to see that and like it's just not eye candy. It's not eye candy at all. I know.
Well, yeah, but then also at the same time.
So is StarNext.
Yeah, but you could just. I mean, some people are of the mindset like, I mean, if you have a really verbose boot up. Chewing on the chair. If you have a really verbose output, that looks cool to a lot of people. It looks like really cool to a lot of people.
What the like stuff like terminals?
Yeah. I mean, like all the verbose output, like when you're booting up.
It's like, whoa, look at this! Yeah, wow, you're a hacker.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Apparently using no mode set fixes it.
No mode set, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, oh, hi, Glowsec. Sorry you've come in and we're actually winding down and planning on ending the stream. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Zorin OS is a step in the right direction, but somehow they need to implement something so that their software center has all apps of AUR. I don't know. I mean, I really can't speak to it. Zorin OS is kind of not really that relevant to me. I don't think many people are really going with Zorin OS. With how many options are out there, Zorin OS doesn't really stand out that much. I mean, it's not like they're bad or anything. Don't misunderstand me, but I don't think for most new users, I really don't know anyone. Like, I've used Zorin OS, I've checked it out, but I don't know of anyone who uses it. Like, I mean, maybe you're that one exception. Like, and if you are, you would literally be the first person I've ever met that uses Zorin OS, not has used, but uses it. Like that's what you use.
I'm gonna check out and turn the lights out.
All right, brother. Well,
and I think I got enough power to still game stream later on. But right now I'm working on fire and coffee, and like I said, I've got my headlamp ready.
All right.
My power's starting to get low.
Word. Awesome, man. Have a good one.
Yep.
From a beginner's perspective, it was good exposure. I mean, yeah, and that's exactly who it's aimed at. Like, it's meant for his, like, you know, audience. They're not used to Linux. they're just interested in, like, I mean, his videos cater to the people who are casually interested in tech. You know, they like, they want to see the cool shit, you know. And like a lot of his audience is like kids, you know, who can't afford to buy that shit, but they desperately want it. And like, you know, they're interested in learning more about it. And he's someone who, you know, obviously can afford to get it and show it off.
He's about to go mine that coal.
There you go. All right, boys. Well, it's been a fantastic stream, so I'm going to end it while it's still going on a good note, high note, you know, end on a high note. So thanks everybody for being here. This is a really, really good time. I hope everybody has a fantastic night or day, where whatever it is, wherever you are. Again, if you enjoyed the stream enough to support me in the endeavor of, you know, spending a large portion of my time streaming and making videos, links for merch and Patreon are in the description below. Thank you guys, and I will go ahead and say a quick thank you to all of my patrons, because I can actually get to their names pretty fast. And I've got a new one, Russell Willis. Thank you, brother. John Collins, Art Center, Scott. Thank you. Joris, Joshua Lee, Papa Smurf, and Matt from the Linux Cast. Thank all of you guys, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Peace.